weapons here. Redland.
Yeah, they should have the weapons. Gold Coast should have the class.
5 minutes.
Brumley's from Labrador.
Labrador. He's a laddie.
Hey guys,
You.
just turn that down. Listen until you guys are ready to go because.
And welcome to Metricon Stadium on the beautiful Gold Coast for NEFL TV. It's round 13, the Gold Coast Suns at home to the Redland Bombers. And streaming live with our broadcast partner, Bar TV. Michael Price with you, joined in commentary by Ethan Mackey. And Ethan, even though both sides are languishing around the bottom part of the ladder, I reckon this is going to be a nice tight contest.
Yeah, good afternoon and thank you, Michael Price. It is indeed. I mean, they've both realistically got nothing to lose now. I mean, we see Redland, they're stuck right down the bottom of the ladder, and Gold Coast in 8th position there. I think we will see a really exciting brand of football today. You see with the leading goal kickers, Redland have got Hamilman on 38 and Payne on 20. So there's 58 goals collectively just between those two rock solid forwards up there. But then on Gold Coast, then, I mean, they've got the class of a few AFL listed players. So really exciting and entertaining contest we have in store here today. Yeah,
some big ins for both sides. For the Gold Coast, Jack Leslie, Harry Symington, Jackson Brumley and Jared Mills in, along with Josh Woolley, the premiership player from Palm Beach Currumbin in 2017. Now for Redland, some big ones, including Hayden Batoli-Simmons, the captain, Stephen Mills, Clay Cameron, one of the great stories in football. We'll talk more about that shortly. Damien Stephen, Harrison Kerr and Adam Boone. I do agree with you, though, Ethan, because the Gold Coast, where are they going to get their goals from? 58 goals, we said, between the two powerhouses up forward for Redland, but where are the Gold Coast getting theirs?
Yeah, it's going to be very tricky. I mean, we see their leading goal kicker for the season out there today, Emmanuel Barrio, with 6. So compared to Hamilman at the other end, who is well and truly over that, I think Redland have got probably 3 or 4 goal kickers who have kicked more than that for the season. So I think if they're going to be any chance of really putting scoreboard pressure on this afternoon, that is the big query with the Suns of where they're going to get their points from. They'll have to have their midfielders, guys like Lonergan, Brody in the midfield, Scrimshaw really moving forward and putting scoreboard pressure on. They have to contribute today. They can't leave it all up to the guys up forward because they just won't have the scoreboard pressure to be able to overhaul Redland.
Yeah, good call. One of the great stories that's come out of today is the courage of Clay Cameron, the 24-year-old former Gold Coast Suns listed player. He's starting on the bench. He's come through some hard times, and we'll explain more when he gets onto the field, because I reckon he'll be greeted with some massive cheers. Umpire Brett Ritchie bangs it down in the middle for Neefle TV, round 13. It's propelled forward for the Bombers. Of course, Jesse Lonergan tried to get his hand in there for the Suns. They'll get at it here, though. College Asney gets the handball across. Good chain. It ends up with Will Brodie. Over the top. Plenty of numbers for the Suns. Good left foot kick. No, it's not. It's in favour of Yagmore, who reads it nicely, goes back, takes his time, and will, he's just very much taking his time.
Yeah, there's another one of the queries then we just touched on, Michael, is the ability of the Suns to be able to move it forward and have a target up there. Yagmore got in a really good position at ground level as Leslie feeds back to Brodie. He bangs it forward on the boot, and the Suns might have some space now. They just hold it up momentarily. Baru, their leading goal kicker for the season. He puts in a crafty little boot into the pocket. Off hands, it looks like it'll spill over the boundary line. Boakey picks it up. He's wrapped over. And we'll have a ball in just inside forward 50 here. Sorry, just in the forward pocket for the Gold Coast.
Yeah, plenty of numbers there for the Gold Coast. They're getting the ball in, as you say, just not hitting those targets. That's imperative. A bit of pressure early on here at Metricon Stadium. Big Malone in the ruck. Slaps it down. Brodie gets it for the Suns. Handballs it off to Greenwall. He can't quite get a handle on it. It's right close to the boundary line. Greenwall goes back in again, but it is going to be taken over. Bit of a scrappy play there. About 10 metres around from where it was thrown in before. We'll do it all again. No score in the game. We've played a minute and a half so far here on Neefle TV.
The umpire tosses the ball in a beautiful Saturday afternoon here at Metricon Stadium. The tap one down by Malone. Lonergan sharks it. He might have been ankled. He was. He copped the trip. The pressure was on him from behind, but he's able to gain the free kick and really give Gold Coast the early momentum here, and some scoreboard pressure that we just touched on was going to be a bit of an issue for them. I did mention that they have to have their midfielders chipping in and putting some goals on the board, and Lonergan's certainly got a pivotal opportunity here early in the piece. Yeah,
23 disposals last week, 10 clearances. He did kick 2 behinds though, so he needs to convert here early to give the Suns a little bit of early momentum.
Lonergan strolls in. He'll have to kick from just at the top of the square, about 15 out. He looks like he's sliced it off the boot, and he has. Cops the near woodwork, so Lonergan just seems to stab at that footy, not kick right through that. He was very close, probably only 12 to 15 metres out, and that hurts.
Opportunity wasted there for the Suns. Yagmore, that's a booming kick as he is accustomed. Fitzroy Greenwall over the back. Tries to chip it forward. Adrian Williams, it basically infringed upon. Running with the face, with the flight of the ball, the Suns' defence. It's an awful kick from Williams. It's sharked by Greenwall. Greenwall spears a ball towards Baru. Can't quite pick it up. Now the Redland defence will get out if this kick stays in for O'Sullivan. It does. He's corralled. Gets a handball over the top. He'll go for the 1-2. Once again, rolls. Just a little bit too big. It's out of bounds on the full, just next to the interchange gates. It's going to be Jack Leslie taking the free kick for the Suns.
So Leslie just forward to centre wing, puts a crafty little boot forward in the direction of Baru. A good mark taken. Greenwall it is. He looks forward. A damaging ball inside 50, but Yagmore seems to be there to collect it. No real vision in that one, and they can take it out the far side now, Redland.
Brad Howard controls it. Howie on the right foot, kicks it towards the outer wing. It does favour the Suns. Josh Woolley, the Palm Beach Currumbin product, goes back to another product of the Palm Beach Currumbin factory, and Max Spencer drills it back up the corridor, finds Scrimshaw. High draft pick, Scrimshaw, number 7 back in 2016. Looks on the left. Well read there, the Redland defence, and Malone, the big ruckman, got his big body in the way. Howard now can't control Nutting. Chain of handballs ends up the Suns. It was Lower who put it inside 50. But the Redland defence, they've been under plenty of pressure, but Williams handles it beautifully to Batoli Simmons. The 1-2 with Howard didn't quite get pulled off there with Howard's handball hitting the deck. Bokey's on the ground, and they will get away, Redland, after it was extracted late.
The umpire had a very good look at that one, was going to ball it up. A mark is dropped on that far side and it rolls over the boundary line. It's just been a bit of an issue moving forward for the Suns here. The whole first probably 4 or 5 minutes has been played on the right hand of screen. Just their ability to really hit some targets inside 50 we saw. I think it was Greenwall who was moving inside 50 then just to kick to really no one. The idea was right. It was just the execution was poor. So if they can tidy that up, I think they'll really be able to get some scoreboard pressure on early.
Yeah, the wind is just slightly favouring the end to which the Suns are kicking. Now the ball's extracted again. Here's Batoli Simmons. Gets through a bit of traffic. Handball off to Salter. Just a little 9-iron chip. Good defence there. Suns get the ball over the boundary line. It was Ryan Gilmore with the fist. Another throw in. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a wisp of a breeze, but nothing too much. We're sitting in the rooftop bar here on Neefle TV. Michael Price and Ethan Mackey calling all of your action.
So the umpire tosses in, the rucks do battle. Malone has positioning and is able to work that one down. Bit of a scrimmage at ground level. Malone followed up well and got the handball out. They can work this forward now, Redland, and are able to punish the Gold Coast. A high ball inside 50. Hamilman was able to get away, had the Jukes out there, couldn't quite reel that one in. Ground level falls into that forward pocket. A few players there and that one seen out. So Redland now can do the opposite to the Gold Coast, and if they can put points on the board, well, they've just wiped out what the Gold Coast were able to do in that first 5 minutes.
And it's interesting when Hamilman approached the ball then. It looks a lot more menacing when you've got the 6'6", 6'7" going at it with the big mitts stuck up in the air.
Umpire tosses in. About 25 metres out from goal in Redland's forward 50. Scrimshaw at ground level. Got a hand to it, couldn't get it cleanly. Brody can. He feeds it back to Scrimshaw. He gives into the corridor and they're able to run now. Woolley gives off to Lonergan. The Suns running in a chain through the midfield here. They can move it forward. A good kick up towards Greenwell. He just waited for it. Yagmore was the one for Redland who was able to get there, and they can bang it through for their first of the afternoon. Lower was able to get positioning on that one, and the Gold Coast draw first blood here at Metricon Stadium.
Yeah, Yagmore just got caught underneath the ball there, Lower with the good position and used his body well in the end to get the first goal of the day for the Gold Coast Suns. And you can hear the cheer going on now for number 13 just running on the field just down to the left of screen, and that is Clay Cameron. An extraordinary story of a 24-year-old man who was diagnosed earlier on in the year, late last year, with testicular cancer. 2 bouts of chemotherapy, and 4 short months later, what a story of courage.
It's just amazing, isn't it? And no one's going to expect too much of him this afternoon, and that's fair. He'd just love to be getting back out there, Clay Cameron, playing footy, and if he can contribute to Redland's efforts this afternoon in any way possible and maybe get himself on the scoreboard, I'm sure there'll be a few teary eyes around the stadium.
Absolutely, Ethan. And the whole Neefle community is behind the return of Clay Cameron as the umpire recalls it. That's umpire James Strybos. He'll bang it down in the secondary circle here at Metricon Stadium. Suns by 7 points after 7.5 minutes of play in the first quarter on Neefle TV through Bar TV. Inside 50 for the Suns. Here comes Williams, but there was some high contact. Umpire Ritchie's called high contact.
Cooper Portelli out there for the Suns.
Yes. It looked a little bit innocuous, but he goes for a very difficult short pass and he finds Harry Symington in the pocket. He had to measure that to the foot to get it there. Did beautifully. Symington looks back in board, or is he just giving that a look in board to make it look like I'm having a look in board?
He's tossing around a bit. He's looking very indecisive. Doesn't rate himself too much, although he's wheeled around on the snap. The kick looks pretty good off the boot. He had the right hand up straight away and saluting to his teammates. That's a very classy finish there from Symington. He's a young fella and he really backed himself then. Looked a little bit indecisive, as we mentioned at first, but no issues with that one. And Gold Coast, well, they've really jumped out of the gates here now. 2-1-13. Redland yet to score. We've had 8.5 minutes played in the first.
First game of the year for Harry Symington. And a goal for the Suns, 2-1-13. Redland yet to score. They've only had a couple of inside 50s, Redland. The Suns have been peppering without finding the target. There was a beautiful kick there from Portelli to find the goal scorer in Arnold. Umpires back in the middle. Umpire Cameron Manthe. Metricon Stadium for round 13. Neefle, proudly supported by Elastoplast. And it's Malone in the ruck. Slaps it down, gives it to Rolls, now to Jai Lyons. Handball over the top, back to the lumbering Malone. Howard just puts himself in the right place. Gets the handball back to Rolls. It's a little bit of a dodgy handball that came across to Scott Miller, so it's turned it over now. Greenwall. Scrubby looking kick. Here's Adrian Williams. The train through half back. Gives it to Howard. Back to Rolls. And that's a beautifully weighted kick to find O'Sullivan.
Redland with an opportunity on the far side. The kick has moved back into the corridor now. Lyons in the distinctive headgear there. Gives the handball out the far side and they're prepared to run now. Just running into a bit of trouble. The Suns' pressure has been good. The kick from Lyons inside 50. Out in the way of the man of the moment, Cameron, for his first touch back. Good to see him out there, as we've mentioned. The handball was a bit array. They're able to pick up through Will Brodie, the Suns, and move it out of their defensive half.
Well, just coming in hard with the tackle was Jonathan Licht on the opponent there in Portelli. It's turned over. Howard spears a pass to Hamilman on the lead. Full-chested, and it was a beautiful pass from Howard. Now Hamilman kicks it to the dangerous spot, looking for Payne. Just got rid of his opponent beautifully with the body work, did Jackson Payne. And there was nothing that Jack Leslie could do.
That is a beautiful kick in there from Hamilman. You love to see that from a bloke, 6'5", 6'6". He's wheeled around. He knew exactly what the plan was as soon as he got that in his hands, and a beautiful kick to space enabled Payne to have the sit on that one. And as you mentioned, Michael, there's nothing Leslie could have done in that situation.
Jackson Payne, 20 goals for the year. Saw him slotting those in the warm-up beforehand. He barely missed one, and he drilled that as well to get Redland's first goal. 2-1-13 the Suns. Redland, one straight. We've played 11 minutes of the first quarter on NEFL TV.
Yeah, there's not much, as you said, you can do there. I mean, we saw the Suns moving it out of the defensive half. They got that goal previously through Symington when it was just a run in the chain, and they were able to move that down into their forward 50. And they tried to do the same thing then. But the thing is, when that handball chain does break down in your defensive 50 or just on centre wing there, your defenders are under an enormous amount of pressure, and that's what Redland did then. They moved the ball, a really good kick out to Hamilman, and he knew exactly where that one was going as soon as he got that in his hands. So really good connection and cohesion between the two Redland forwards there.
Back in the middle with umpire James Strobos. Bangs it down. And it's Stephen Mills filling in the ruck for Redland and Jacob Heron for the Suns. It ends up with the Suns. Portelli can't quite control it. Here they come. It's a scrubby kick inside 50. Touched off the boot. Play on. And very well done there by Scott Miller. Got the handball off. So we get a little bit of practice from the stadium PA system. I'm telling you, it does work, gentlemen. Well done. Salter gets the handball away. O'Sullivan just dives all over the top of Emmanuel Baru, and the umpire will come in and ball it up.
So amid the sound checks throughout Metricon Stadium, the ball is tossed up on centre wing. Redland get first hands down to it and can work it out. There's a lot of numbers around this. Lyons gives out the far side. It's a good handball out to Howard. He goes on the boot and goes towards Cameron. The hands are out. He nearly reeled that one in. Couldn't quite grab onto it. Kolajasny gives the handball. There's a Suns player taken high in that passage of play, and they're able to move it along quickly.
It was Gilmore who just got the handball away. Now they're under pressure again. Symington, handball smothered. Nice work there. It was Adam Boone, little pocket rocket. He's only 179 centimetres. Shouldn't say that. I'm only 178. So throw in right in front of us here at the Metricon Stadium. NEFL TV Sky Box. Throw in. Mills gets the hand down. Good bit of roving there and a great bit of tackling. It was Jared Mills who was taken into the ground. Ryan Dadds, the tackler, will receive the free kick for a very beautiful and well-executed tackle.
The tackling press of the last couple of minutes from Redland has been super. The kick for Cameron up the wing just goes over his head, but Redland are able to get there. Cameron followed up well. A left foot wobbling kick inside 50. Hamilman nearly had his head taken off, presenting for that footy. He wheels around on the right boot again. The kick inside. There, forward 50. A lot of bodies around this one trying to wrap this up for the Suns. They're trying to get this forward now. Redland, hands on it. May have been a high tackle. Cameron gives a good handball out, and they can get a bit of clear space now. A bit of time for Bertolli Simmons. He dances and pivots around one. It's a high ball inside 50. Suns have the numbers there and are able to take the mark.
Yeah, that's a very strong mark from Jack Scrimshaw, showing all of his class. Goes across the face of goal. Finds Kolajasny, just coming back from a few concussion issues, and all things going very well in his recovery, as we've been told. Max Spencer. He kicks it to Connor Nutting. Two blonde bombshells. Connor Nutting goes down there. Very deliberate and slow play from the Gold Coast Suns. Just really happy to hold on to the ball. Redland have settled and set themselves up very well in front. Symington just has the ball smothered off the mark. That's good old-fashioned discipline play from Adam Boone, just manning the mark, making sure that he's jumping all around the place. If a player's in half a mind, he's going to do something like kick it into your hands.
Yes, it'd be exactly what Lee Harding, their coach, is loving to see. I mean, he made a great tackle on Symington about 2 minutes earlier on this wing, and he's got over that side and is really applying the pressure now, which is what they need from their smaller blokes. A tap down, it looks like it'll run over the boundary line again, and players and the umpires are all content to see another ball up. So the Suns is playing a little bit more possession footy than it has been. Quite a frantic first 15 minutes. It is fair to say, Michael Price, the pace of this game, both of these sides, as we mentioned prior to the call, with not much to lose here in terms of ladder position for this season, they'll be wanting to make the most of their opportunities this afternoon.
Yeah, Mills got it down for Redland. Batoli Simmons, handball over the top there to Dads, and a long kick out of the congestion there from... It was from Ryan Dads. He actually got his boot to the ball in the end. Out of bounds on the full, free kick the Suns, and it ends up with Scrimshaw 30 metres out from his own goal.
So Scrimshaw gives back to College Asney, ran into a bit of trouble but was able to keep his poise and give to Leslie, who moves it out to the far side. That's a great kick. Baru has the footy now. I'm not sure that one was quite as good. Put an up and under and put his man under a whole lot of pressure, but they were able to gather footy and move forward now. Bokey on half-forward flank, dances around a couple, gives back to Baru, about 70 from home, a dangerous kick in. It's all Redland jerseys back there, and they're able to clean this one up with relative ease.
Wasted opportunity there. It just needed to lower the eyes, but there wasn't a lot of presentation going along for him as Redland now. The ball's going to bounce in front of Clay Cameron. Regardless of what happens, he's going to get some applause from the boundary line and does so. Escorting the ball over the boundary line was Ryan Gilmore. We played 16 minutes, 16 seconds of the first term on Neefel TV. It's the Suns by 7 points to Redland, just one straight. Beautiful afternoon for this twilight game. It's the curtain raiser to the AFL's Suns versus Collingwood clash. Ball slapped down Lonigan, right foot. Oh, Yagmore just read it as soon as it came off Lonigan's boot. Yagmore drifted back by a metre and took a beautiful defensive mark.
Dropped off, knew he had the assistance of Lick there, and he was able to just get position in that one. Really well judged as they move it out to the far side. Lyons has tripped over the footy. This is Spencer now, able to... Nutting. He moves it inside 50. A dangerous kick in there. It's 2-on-1. Outnumbered at the moment is Greenwell. He wraps it up, dances around a couple. The snap. Can he put it through? Just to the near side. He had two to beat there. And didn't he look lively at ground level?
How about the confidence from the teammate in Nutting to think, you're 2-on-1, don't worry, I'll just drop it anywhere near, because he burnt them off like the Roadrunner was sort of mimip, he was gone. Well done, Fitzroy Greenwell, just couldn't quite finish it off. Yagmore kicks it in the Malone direction, in fact, over the big man's head. College Asney drags it back with one arm. Oh, Lonigan, tackled beautifully by Christensen, did the over-the-head handball straight over the boundary line. Redland players appealed for deliberate, nothing doing. Umpire's going to throw it in. So it's a fairly willing contest here at Metricon Stadium, Ethan.
It is. It's been a cracker, this one so far. They're really in and under and tough on the inside. But once it gets out on the outside, the skills have been pretty good. They're looking to move the footy and really looking to attack at the moment. Will Brodie, about 60 from home, dances and pivots around a couple. They move it inside 50, quick through the hands. Can they work it through and get it home? Oh, what a banana. Harry Symington. He's got his tail up now. That's his second for the afternoon. He's put the Suns even further ahead now. That is a classy finish.
Yeah, very good finish. The presence of mind, obviously, just prefers the outside of the boot, as so many of the modern players do, instead of using the opposite side of the body. But when you can do it like that, why not? Just very classy.
That is a beautiful finish. He's making life hard for himself this afternoon. His first goal was out right in that forward pocket there, and he looked a little bit indecisive of that one initially. He's put that through from the boundary line, and then just here, if you don't mind, chucks it on the boot and puts a banana through. So Symington, as I mentioned as well, and truly got his tail up in the Suns. They're able to move out to a 14-point buffer. We've had just shy of 19 minutes gone in the first term. They've certainly looked the better side. Yeah, the Bombers need to get a bit of a wriggle on, as the Suns are looking and pressing hard, using their pace, their youthful exuberance to advantage, as umpire Ritchie bangs it down in the middle. Malone again gets the fist to it. Brodie with a deft hand tried to flick it back, but it's picked up by Salter. He gets it out. Christensen back to Rolls. Rolls, a long kick inside 50. Well read, Max Spencer.
Very good defensive effort, and he plays on. Handball to Leslie. Good chase there from Hamilton. Affected the kick. Suns aren't out of this yet. Oh, yes, they are. Well played. Kolajasny at half back.
Kolajasny able to burst through the corridor now. The kick up there to Pearson. Open this one up. Lonergan gives back to Kolajasny. He provides the overlap run. And a good kick out onto the forward flank now for Mills. He's got a couple of metres. Oh, gives out in front of Nutting. He can pick up cleanly. He's got numbers everywhere inside 50. He goes for home. A long ball. Touched on the line and just through. He had Boakey in that forward pocket unattended. But the young fella decided to pin the ears back and back himself. And another couple of metres on that right boot of his. And that was through for another major.
Yeah, dropped on the head there of Tuiloa. Good contest between he and Yagmore as Yagmore brings it back in. Adrian Williams comes down the line and finds Jack Rolls having a fine season in the top 10 in both tackles and disposals for the NEFL competition, as Will Brodie picks up the spare crumb and chips a little sand wedge. Intelligent kick, it was dropped. Yagmore picks it up. He shoots a handball back in the direction of Brodie. He fists it forward. It's still in dispute and picked up there by Scott Miller. He's ragdolled into the ground. That was a really, really good tackle. I think it was lower again. Yes, it was. Tuiloa, who affected the tackle, dropped him like a bad habit in the forward pocket.
So the ball up, Redland win the tap out of there. There's a lot of Suns numbers applying pressure. A good tackle laid by Cooper Portelli takes his direct opponent over the boundary line, lets him know about it a little bit.
It's the youngsters, Ethan, that are really applying the pressure in the forward line, and the forward 50 really hammering them with the tackles.
They are. Your Nuttings of the world, Brodie Fosters, those sorts of guys who aren't the ones that are expecting to really put in a big performance are helping the Suns here at ground level. Bit of a scrimmage at the moment. They can work it forward now. Redland on the outside. That's a clever little tap on there. They can move it back now. Christensen gives the hands off. Bit of time to assess the situation. Cameron is the target down the line, flies. Can't quite get there. Slipping over there was Gilmore for the Suns. Leslie, he went about a 3-metre kick and dishes off. It's an interesting way to do it, but it's certainly been effective. Clean at ground level. They can work it forward now. Gilmore, nearly a dangerous collision there at ground level. Wrapped up is Greenwell, and Redland may be able to clear. They look like they can.
Malone scoops a handball. Christensen. A good chase there from Greenwell. Didn't quite catch them, but affected it and then affected the smother. Good work, Fitzroy Greenwell. It's a turnover. Scrimshaw, beautiful pick up with the one hand. Looping handball to Josh Woolley. Loses his footing. Clay Cameron picks it up. Oh, it's a handball picked off by Boakey. Boakey, the left foot from 40 metres. Drills home the drop punt. Good bit of pressure there. It started with Greenwell here and continued into their forward 50, and that's what's the big reward for the Suns when it's finished off like that. Well done by Kwabi Boakey. His first goal, 4-3-27 the Suns. Redland one straight, so 21 points the margin, 22 played first term.
Yeah, it was pretty tight in and under. The first probably 5-6 minutes, Michael Price, it was very congested, but now we've seen this game open up dramatically. That's a great finish from Boakey, though. Josh Woolley just couldn't quite get the handball to his intended target. And then that was just picked off, and a very, very good finish there from Boakey. He was able to put that one through.
Yeah, Kwabi Boakey is a very interesting player. He runs at 20 metres in 3 seconds or less. He's very, very good. His parents, of course, from Ghana. He showed that explosive pace, but then showed the finish as well. And that is, it's all well and good to have the pace, but the polished finish is what you require.
Just to be able to settle and not get flustered in that situation. I mean, a really good finish, weighed up the opportunity and was able to pop that one through. Rucks contest now. Malone wins the tap down. Redland need to get a move on here. They're having all the questions asked of them at the moment. Wrapped up in a good tackle there, being applied by Portelli. The umpire will come in and swoop and say, I'll have that. We'll toss it up and see how we go again. The football's probably moved about 15 metres in the Suns' favour. Tap down at ground level. Plenty of numbers around this ball. There's a lot of congestion in there. Who's this on the outside? I think it's Kolajasny. How does someone like that get 20 metres from the contest on his own? Foster gives the handball back into the corridor. Moving it forward, Nutting. It's a good kick to a dangerous spot. Redland have the numbers to clean up, and they should have no issues here.
Jackson Payne, dangerous kick trying to find Yagmore. It's spoiled, brought to ground. Well done from the Suns. Kolajasny, handball off there to Portelli, who hooks it around the corner from 30 metres. And again, it's the pressure that's applied that has resulted in the turnover. Good finish from Cooper Portelli. He gets the Suns' 5th goal. 5-3-33 plays one straight, so 27 points to the margin. It's getting a little ugly here for Redland after 24 minutes of the first quarter, Ethan.
Yeah, certainly not what Lee Harding and the Redland coaching staff would be wanting to be seeing here. But on the flip side, Nick Malcheski and everyone down at the Suns would be loving this, because it is, as you say, the pressure that they are applying here. Every time you think Redland might have the opportunity to easily have a rebound 50 here, it's just the Suns. The smaller guys, as you mentioned, up in their faces, the guys who are younger and don't have the expectation on their shoulders like a Lonergan or a Kolajasny does, they're the ones creating these turnovers, and they're really making Redland pay at the moment, and this is looking a little bit ominous.
Yeah, plenty of pace. Sneeful TV, round 13. Umpire Brett Ritchie's going to recall that one, and we'll get it all started again. We're here with our broadcast partner Bar TV, and we're proudly supported by the good people at Elastoplast.
Rucks do battle. Malone just off hands. A nice little tap down there, and they can move it forward now, Redland. They've got an opportunity. Bertolli Simmons, a high ball inside 50. At ground level now, can Cameron get involved in this one? He's been prominent early. It's seen over the boundary line there. So Redland finally getting an opportunity inside their 50. They're looking in a bit of an ugly position at the moment, but they just need to look at getting the next and really getting back into this contest, because at the moment they're out of it on the scoreboard, and in terms of the actual contest out there, they're being dominated around the stoppages as well. Yeah,
good call, Ethan Mackey. Michael Price with you as well on Neefle TV. Malone got it down, but the Suns will come away with the ball. Good bit of pace shown, but just affecting that run, Brad Howard got a little push to his opponent in Jacob Heron, pushed him over the boundary line. 45 metres out from the Redland goal. They'd love to sneak another one in here just prior to quarter time. It's the Suns leading by 27 points at Metricon Stadium. It's Malone at the front for Redland. Again, slapping it down. Here's Brad Howard on the left foot, and then Jags back on the right looking for Cameron. Can't quite juggle it. He does affect the tackle, though. Taking the ball over for the Suns was young Lachlan McDonald.
Cameron's nearly been Redland's probably their most dangerous forward thus far. He's been in nearly every contest. He's been a pivotal target for them up there. He's not exactly doing what you'd expect coming back from what he's been through, but it's great to see for him really putting in a good effort. The Suns, are they able to move this out of the defensive 50? Up the line, Gilmore. No, it was intercept. He's out in the full, in fact. So Redland with a few late opportunities here. Oh, no, it is in the Suns' favour.
Yeah, so what happened, it basically came off Brad Ree's foot. So he paid the penalty for going in and smothering, but he smothered it onto his own boot. As Heron comes back, he got the old 1-2. He's looking for Kolajasny. Jackson Payne in front. Good contest. Kolajasny couldn't quite take the juggler. Payne got the handball to Howard. Got the 1-2. Looping handball back to Boone. Boone to Malone. Now it's where it's a little slow here. He chips back towards Jackson Payne. Good defensive setup from the Gold Coast Suns forward of the ball, Ethan, as Payne kicks it long to half forward. That's a beautifully weighted kick. It was Mills who couldn't quite take it, and the Suns' defence will get away from here.
So Scrimshaw, a little chip off the left boot. It's a good one, and Brody has some space to go if he wants to. Dances around Malone, looks out to this near side, and Lonergan has it. We look up in their forward 50. There's a lot of movement from the Suns in there. Their structures look great moving forward. Lonergan just content to move it back to Scrimshaw here. He holds the footy and is just on centre wing, having a look ahead. The left boot, a good kick out in the direction of Brody. Inch perfect, that one just got over the top of Payne there, and Brody takes it on the marriage of the 50-metre arc and the boundary line. He has a look up. Redland have their setups pretty good behind the footy. They've got a lot of numbers in there. The big fella Malone sitting at the top of the square. So Brody just puts it sideways, opens up that angle a bit, and they might be able to have a shot here.
Well, that was just patient work. Patient work from the Gold Coast Suns. It's Jack Scrimshaw who's got the ball. Number 7 draft pick back in 2016. As I said before, he's a good size and he can roost the ball. So even though he's going to have to let this go from around about 52 metres, he is capable of doing it, Ethan.
Yeah, early in the game, he'll probably have fresh legs still, you'd imagine. So let's see how he goes. Scrimshaw comes in. He's awfully close to the man on the mark. He worked out sideways to get that arc in the kick, and probably just the distance was a bit of a query in his own mind as well leading into that one. He's put it across the near side. And the Suns, 5-4-34, Redland 1 straight 6. We've had 29 gone in the first term.
Yagmore gets it over to Jackson Payne. He loops a handball to Jai Lyons. Needs to get a wriggle on. Kicks it over the head of Cameron. It was the leader, Tom Salter, who wheels around onto the right. Puts it back into the path of Clay Cameron. Coming is Jack Leslie. Leslie gathers. Cameron gathers him, but then loses the handle on Leslie's jumper. Kick long. Good fisting effort there by Licht. took the ball over the boundary line on the outer side of Metricon Stadium. We'll get a throw in. It's 28 points the margin. The Suns leading after 29 minutes of the first term on Neefle TV through Bar TV.
So the umpire to toss in directly on the centre line. Brumley and Malone to do battle in the ruck. Malone won the tap, but it's gone straight back towards the umpire there and he'll have another go at that. So it has been, yeah, as we've mentioned, it was very congested and tight early. The Suns have just been able to open up Redland here, and their movement on the outside, their class with that ball use is just a bit of a separating factor at the moment. They're able to really get some space in that forward 50, which when Redland have been moving it forward, it's not anything like that.
So the umpire will throw it in on the outer side. Big Malone up against Heron. Got the ball down again. They're doing well on the clearances as Jack rolls, runs away, has a bounce, kicks it inside 50, looking for Hamilman. Once again, Max Spencer gets rid of his opponent. Ooh. But the umpire has called it an illegal nudge. Now, oh, gee, I reckon that's a tough call, Ethan.
I'm not sure about that. I don't think there were any hands in the back involved there. That was just, he had Matthew Hamilman exactly where he wanted him to be then and used his body very well in putting him in that position and getting the sit for that one. And the umpire has deemed that is not the case.
Well, the leading Neefle goal kicker is Matthew Hamilman with 38. Comes in and makes it 39. Matthew Hamilman gets a much-needed goal for Redland. Controversial decision. But the Suns 5-4-34. Redland 2 straight 12. It takes it back to 22 points the margin after nearly 31 minutes of play in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think this scoreboard is probably a fair reflection of the way the first term has worked. That certainly a bit of a dubious decision, that one, but I'm sure Hamilman and Redland would happily take that one. They were in real need of that. They were looking, the Suns were asking all the questions of them in defence and opening them up there. So they've been able to get that forward. Rolls has been really good for Redland as well, I've thought, in the first term. He's been one of their more pivotal workers of the ball in that centre and taking it forward there as the ruck is contested. Malone won the tap down and off the floor there, straight off the carpet. Redland are able to move it forward. It went through the hands of Christensen then. He goes back for a second bite of the cherry. Inside the forward 50, Leslie off the ground. So the Suns are getting all the numbers there. I don't think a person's picked it up in the last 3 or 4 kicks. They're all been off the carpet. A bit of World Cup fever being displayed here at Metricon. They've all been watching SBS too much.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be doing it on the streaming service.
Not on Optus Live, that's for sure.
At the moment, they're having a few issues. Throw in, across half forward. Big Malone slaps it down again, dominating in the ruck. Salter bumped off it there by Jack Leslie. Ball in dispute. It's hacked forward by Heron. Kicked in the Baru direction. He slaps it towards the boundary line. Well done. Picked up by Will Brody. Kick long. And it's just favoured Adam Boone, who read it nicely. He wants to take off. He's got Williams and across half-back, it's Jackson Payne. Well, puts him under a bit of pressure, but Payne's up to that. Kwabi Boki was floating in the area. I reckon it was a nice bit of body work there too that sort of helped him out from Jonah Licht.
Yeah, Licht worked well there. He did well to disguise that one and not put too much of a block on Boki that attracted attention from the umpires. What has attracted attention from the umpires is Woolly's treatment out there on Clay Cameron. He gets the free kick and is able to move it forward. They're quick enough. A good contest out there. Spencer was able to affect that. But Redland can still work it forward again. That's about a 30-metre handball. An inside 50, if you like. Christensen, off hands, sees it over the boundary line there, just out in front of the Carlton Draft front bar. Just inside the forward 50 there for Redland. Can they snag a late one here? There's been 33 gone, so you can't imagine there is too long left in this first term. They'd love the opportunity to put another one on the scoreboard here and peg this margin back.
Yeah, Jackson Payne just... like the boy putting his finger in the dike to stop the water, he's just gone back to defence just to help out Redland as the siren goes for quarter time. And at quarter time, it's the Gold Coast Suns 5-4-34 leading Redland 2 straight 12. 22 points the margin in favour of the Suns. The goal scorers, Harry Symington's got a couple, Kwabi Boki's got one. Tuiloa and Cooper Portelli, the other goal scorers for Redland. Matthew Hamilman has one and Jackson Payne. So the Twin Towers have got one each, but they're still 22 points adrift. We'll be back very shortly with the second quarter. We'll roll through a few numbers from the first very shortly on Neefle TV. Welcome back to Metricon Stadium for NEFL TV. It's round 13. The Gold Coast Suns are at home to the Redland Bombers, and we're doing it live with our broadcast partner, Bar TV. We're proudly supported by Elastoplast as well. Michael Price and Ethan Mackey calling all of your action. And Ethan, after the Suns lead by 22 points at quarter time, it was pretty obvious that their pace and enthusiasm is really providing them with scoring opportunities by turning the ball over.
Yeah, it was just that speed we saw Michael with the Suns in that first term. I mean, the younger guys who are up and about and really moving, they were the ones that were able to apply that pressure to Redland and just force them into making decisions that were forcing those turnovers, and that was essentially the difference in that first term, and it's been drawn out to a 22-point margin, I should say. If they can't tidy that one up and can't cope with the pressure applied by the Suns here, Redland might be in for a bit of a long evening.
Umpire Cameron Manthe in the middle. He's going to bang it down in the secondary circle. Malone versus Brumley. Slapped down by Malone. It's towed forward by Rolls inside 50. Big fisting effort from Josh Woolley at the back. He was going to get the ball back. It's picked up by Spencer. Spencer going to get a little bit of pressure from Christensen, but had enough time to measure a kick. He couldn't quite find his target in McDonald. It was Boakey who got it back to Kolajasny. Kolajasny now across half back. He finds Jacob Heron. Held up just a little, but it's good run from Jack Leslie. They're holding their defensive shape. Leslie decides to go corridor-wise, kicks it in the direction of Fitzroy Greenwall. Can't pull it down from the back. Towed forward. There it is. That's lower to Baru. Baru from 50 overcooks the kick. And Adrian Williams, the Bombers fullback, takes a saving mark.
Worrying signs there early for the Bombers. That was great movement we saw from the Suns, just their ability to work and create that overlap run. Certainly putting Redland under a bit of pressure here. They're deep in defence, stuck in that back pocket there, and it's a long bailout kick up the line. Looks like the Suns have a lot of the numbers there at ground level. It's wrapped up, moved forward again by the Suns. Redland having a lot of pressure applied to them, so the Suns certainly picked up where they left off in that first term. Trying to keep it in there over that far side of the Suns, but it's seen over the boundary line. We'll have a ball in just in front of centre wing in the Suns' attacking favour.
Yeah, you'd have to think Nick Malcheski and the coaching staff of the Gold Coast Suns would be really impressed with the way they've structured up. They look like they're reasonably settled all across the ground. Throw in. Malone slaps it down for Redland. Brad Howard puts himself in, immediately tackled by Connor Nutting. Ball stuck between the two of them, and Howard gets dragged up by Malone. Looks like he'd do some weightlifting with him. Malone down to Salter. Back to Brad Howard, who's getting quite involved in this game early. Long kick towards half forward. It's a one-on-one. Woolley versus his opponent in Kyle Walsh. The ball hits the deck. It's still in dispute. Suns with the numbers. Heron now. Kolajasny. Brody. Back to Heron as there's a little bit of a scrap behind play between Jack Leslie and Jackson Payne. Jackson Payne is still down as well as the ball goes forward, and it's still a fight. Brad Howard involved, tackled by Baru, stuck underneath them, and we'll get a ball up. But Jackson Payne and Jack Leslie just came together there behind the play. It was quite interesting.
A bit going on there, Michael Price, and Leslie actually got up out of the push and shove there and ran to it, and the ball essentially landed in his lap then. So he certainly was in the right place at the right time. The tap down right near the boundary line then. A lot of bodies in this contest. They work it out, Redland. They can feed back, and they've got a good setup behind the footy here. They look to pierce through the corridor. That's a dangerous kick. But it's a good one if it pays off. And Hamilman in the Dukes out front was able to beat Spencer in the race to that one. And he's got the footy, but there's nothing ahead of him. So he holds it up for a moment and puts a kick just down the line here. Dads has the footy. He's been busy in this match so far. A good kick up the line to Christensen, and he's got it about 70 from home. He looks to move the footy quicker. A kick into the pocket here. Kolajasny gets back, takes a bit of a bump for his efforts, and was able to put that one over and put a good fist in. He'll get the free kick for that as well, I think.
Yeah, Jackson Payne just dropped the shoulder a little there. A little bit of a blood rule. Okay, and no. The umpires just signalled a blood rule. So we said that Jack Leslie and Jackson Payne clashed a little bit over on the far side, and It's got a fair bit of claret coming out of that left eye as Jackson Payne as he comes off the ground with the blood rule. Still testing the PA system behind us, which is not off-putting at all, as the ball is being held by Kolajasny. Ready to put it back in. Good lead from Lonigan. Honours that. Drops it on his chest. Again, they're just happy to maintain possession and keep Redland chasing tail as Portelli wheels back in. Hits Symington. He's kicked to Symington. He's back at half-back at the moment. That's a courageous kick finding Josh Woolley. So they've still got the ball in hand. They're just going to slowly move it down the outer side. Heron now over to Spencer. Spencer's got Nutting.
Good mark.
That was a good mark in front of Yagmore and Connor Nutting.
So Nutting, about 70 from home. It's been a really good build-up to this one. They've held the footy and have been able to just open Redland up. The kick inside 50. There's a few numbers there for the Suns at ground level. Oh, well done. They can work this one out. Put that one through. Boakey. He puts through his second of the afternoon. So the Suns, with all the numbers there at ground level, were just able to hold on to it for long enough to apply the pressure to Redland, and that has opened up for Boakey in the goal square. He puts through his second, and the Suns move further ahead early in the second term.
How's about the pace of Greenwell, Tui Loa, and Kwabi Boakey? You can also throw Emmanuel Baru into the mix when he's not sitting on the bench. But, boy, they just burnt them off there, used their skills, quick hands, and they're making them pay with their foot speed. Absolutely, Ethan.
They're the 3 or 4 guys who have really started this sort of pressure wave that we saw sort of after 7 to 8 minutes of that first term. They were the ones who were applying that frontal pressure and really putting Redland under the pump when they were coming out of their defensive 50. And the dividends are certainly paying off for them now, as we've seen. We've seen Boakey get into the action a couple of times here, and his teammates around him really get involved.
Umpire Ritchie hits it down. It's Brumley. Slaps it into the path of Will Brodie, who takes off and has a couple of bounces. It's a long kick towards a vacant goal square, but it misses everything. It bounces over the line. We'll get a throw in right next to the point post. It's actually not a bad result for the Gold Coast Suns when you consider it, that they'll get a stoppage in their forward pocket. They're leading by 28 points after 6 minutes of the second term. This is NEFL TV through Bar TV. I'm Michael Price, and this is Ethan Mackey.
Umpire tosses this one in. The Rucks do battle at ground level. Redland probably win that one, but there's a couple of Suns there wrapping the player up straight away. So we'll have a ball up. The ball has not moved overly far from where that one was tossed in the first place. Suns looking to do a lot more damage here at ground level. Brodie, can he get his hands to it? He had a crack a little earlier on. A clean pick up there in the snap. Oh, is that a goal? That is a cracker. What a goal. Harrison Arnold from the boundary line, if you don't mind. He's popped that one up and put that through. Was never looking for a pass or for a teammate to give that one through, and he's had no issues there. That is a great finish.
What a ripping goal from Harrison Arnold. He's a good size too, 192 centimetres. He's already got about 86 kilos about him. He just didn't even think about the what they call the discipline kick to the top of the goal square, because he knew he had the skills. He just jammed it through from the pocket. What an exquisite finish.
It's a confident finish. He's had to chip in the ruck as well when Brumley hasn't been in there today, so he's had his work cut out for him. And if he can put through some goals like that, he's certainly going to be getting some notice from the right people, especially when he's playing in the ruck and having to fill in doing what he's doing. So that's a great finish. Gee, worrying signs here for the Bombers.
Yeah, the Bombers looking every bit like that bottom place side at the moment. Only the one win. They've had 9 losses. There's some good moments and some very good players, but I'd like to see Hamilman getting more involved. Max Spencer's had his number so far, but the ball hasn't necessarily been delivered in there to his advantage too much. Clay Cameron just coming back. We know his story after 4 months of horrendous illness and treatment, as the Suns get another clearance. Brodie Foster, it's a long kick inside 50, bouncing at the back. Greenwell, Fitzroy gets tackled by Yagmore. Again, it's Symington, chips it forward. It's punched through the goals for a point. They're peppering. As soon as the ball hits the ground level, boy, they're getting separation between their forwards and their backs very quickly. It's 35 points the margin now.
If your direct opponent's Fitzroy Greenwell, you're really going to be hoping you're certainly going to be awake, I'll tell you that much. He looks like someone like a Cyril Rioli or an Eddie Betts at the moment when they are on. He's just got that much time and space, and at ground level, if he's anywhere within sort of 10 or 15 metres of that contest, he is making an impact. As Redland move it out of defence up the line here, the ball taken by Rolls. He has a bounce, another one. He burns off his opponent and goes long. The kick towards Hamilman's a good one. A really good space he put that into. Cameron is bursting away to the goal square, looking to get involved. Hamilman about 55 out. He loads up and goes for goal. It never really looked a chance. In fact, that one's gone out of the full on the near side.
Well, there you go. I was about to say, Matthew Hamilman, just go back and take a set shot. He's got that distance.
He's definitely got the legs from there.
And with that slight breeze favouring your right of screen here at Metricon, I thought he might have been better served having a set shot, but the Suns will bring it out. Oh, Lonergan, strength, still gets the handball away. It can't be dragged in by McDonald. Ball stuck underneath Adam Boone, and the Redland Junior will get up with the ball. Spent a long time at the club, Adam Boone, since he was a young fella. And now engaging in a little bit of byplay off the ball with Jared Mills as well. Big Craig Malone slaps it down to Rolls. Rolls tackled by Lonergan and disposes of the ball illegally. So Lonergan plays on. Chips the ball into the corridor. It's Portelli. He takes off. He's got a bit of toe, but that's a mongrel floater. It's going to advantage Greenwell, though, because it hit ground level. He can't control it, so Redland will have the ball, and it's turned over again. Katsiris has it for the Suns.
So out the far side, Heron now, he's about 70 from home, just lowers the eyes and a good kick inside 50. They have the ball and they're just working it a little bit closer to the boundary line then as Portelli takes the mark. His kick a little bit earlier on, Portelli. I think he deliberately tried to mongrel that one just to put it out in front of Greenwell and let him run to that one. He's looking that dangerous at the moment. But Portelli, the player in question, has the footy here. He's about 45 out on the boundary line. He'd be right on his distance, so he just decides to pop it up to a dangerous spot. Scrimshaw had about 3 to beat. Neither of the Redland players couldn't reel in the mark. Scrimshaw on the right boot. He snaps it through. Followed up his work there in that contest well, beat a few players and popped it on the right boot and was able to just squeeze it through for a major score.
So Redland are trailing the Suns. 8-5-53 the Suns. Redland 2 goals 12. And that is after 11 minutes of the second term. I'm just blown away by that from Jack Scrimshaw, mainly because his opponents, he basically took on the big, tall timbers of Redland, brought the ball to ground.
It went down like 10 pins.
It was very average contest, I thought, Ethan, just quietly from the big fellas from Redland there.
Yeah, very average defence. I mean, there's nothing or no future in having 3 of them flying for the same footy when it was evident there was only Scrimshaw and he was the only one for the Suns going up for that. But on the flip side, great to see Scrimshaw making that contest there, forcing it to ground and following up, and was able to really finish that one with no issues there. That's really good to see from the young fella.
Umpire Brett Ritchie back in the middle here at Metricon Stadium.
So doing battle in the rucks. Malone certainly won the honours that time. The tap down, wrapped up. It hasn't moved too far. The umpire sweeps and we'll call it up again. So it's just trickled out of the centre square here. We've had just shy of 12 minutes played in this second term, and the Suns doing all the attacking at the moment. Redland will want to be back in this contest. It's going to be tough to get back into a scoreboard point of view, let alone in the contest and the way that the game is positioned at the moment. Woolley out of defence, a tracer bullet of a kick, looking into the corridor but couldn't find his intended target. And they're able to collect this one, Redland. Can they put one through? A great smother there applied by Woolley. He followed up well out that far side, Redland, and they look into the forward pocket and that will fall over the boundary line. So probably not a terrible result for Redland. They get to have the footy down there if they're good enough to lock it in there at the moment, but it's just we're seeing the same old case here with the Suns' pressure, and they're just not allowing Redland any time on the footy.
Absolutely not, and their defence, including Leslie, Spencer, very strong. Kolajasny working his way back into the game. That's Katsiris with the ball. It's a sky ball. Big pack of players flies. Woolley, and it's Batoli Simmons backing away as Josh Woolley was approaching with the flight. He takes the mark. The son of QAFL great Terry Simmons, for both Cooperoo and Maine back in the day. Hayden Batoli Simmons, the youngest captain in history of the Redland Football Club a couple of years ago when he was 18. Desperately need a captain's goal, the Bombers here, just to inject a little bit of enthusiasm and impetus. Hayden Batoli Simmons, back today, has pushed it wide, one behind, so not quite what they were after. 8-5-53 plays 2-1-13. It's exactly 40 points the margin the Suns lead.
Kolajasny moves that one back in. Spencer deep in the back pocket. He's got a whole lot ahead of him at the moment, and of course more sound checks throughout the stadium to compete with here, but he does well enough. He gives to Kolajasny, who's right tucked in behind the far point post.
I was going to say, it's an entertainment precinct here at Carrara. We've got the rock band out the back. We've got the stadium PA being tested behind us, but we're battling away here on NEFL TV through Bar TV. Well done to Jord, the camera operator, as well, doing it all in through these distractions.
So a 50-metre penalty here we see to Lonigan. That's Portelli, in fact. He gives off on the handball to Scrimshaw. He was on his bike. The umpire's blown a whistle for something.
I just held it up again. Said you weren't quite back to 50. I didn't call time on.
Just wanting Portelli to go and take his time. The umpire
And
blows the whistle
50
again. It's another one.
Well, umpire Richie, you could almost see him. He was just about to warn. Is it
Peter Yagmore?
Jack Rolls? No, it was Jack Rolls who was running through. He was chasing his opponent around the back of the mark, but he probably lagged by about a metre or two. So that gave the umpire enough separation to say, well, 50-metre penalty, and here's a shot at goal for Portelli.
So Portelli comes in for his second of the afternoon from right in front, made the goal umpire work, but no issues with that one. Puts that one through for the Suns' 9th of the evening. So I think that in itself is a bit of a metaphor for the Redland experience in this second term. I mean, a double 50-metre penalty, you don't see too many of them in the modern game. And that's just been the way that this second term and a lot of this match has gone for them so far. I mean, they started so promisingly in the contest and right in the clinches, doing well in the contested ball, and then the Suns just got their mojo, and it's been all a bit of a battle for Redland since then. So that that doesn't help when the Suns have the ball in their defensive 50. And Portelli's having a shot the other end from 15 metres out.
46 points the margin it is now in favour of the Suns. 15 and a half gone. Second term, Neefel TV through Bar TV. Umpire Manthe bangs it down. Nicely hit by Mills. He ends up getting his own clearance, just toes it forward. Salter blocks it with the foot. It ends up in the hands there of Rolls, and that's just a wasted kick. Well read by Kolajasny. Just floated back, took the mark, and then drilled a pass to Brodie, who wanted to play on, slipped, gave the handball over to Heron. Heron's now being chased, well, somewhat manfully there by, is it Jackson Payne's got number 9 on, so we've got a jumper change because of that blood rule. Jackson Payne in number 9 as Redland move it forward. That's a wobbling mongrel, and it goes through the hands of everybody. It's going to be beeline there by Brodie, who, no, he stopped. Well done by Arnold, who held the ball in. Umpires circling, and umpire Manthe says, we'll ball it up. It's stuck in there. It's 35 metres from the goal.
Seems like Jackson Payne certainly came off second best in terms of that dispute with Jack Leslie earlier on. He's had to change jerseys and make a whole lot of amendments to what's going on out there. The kick out of the clinches. Cameron takes a good mark. Back for his first game this afternoon. It's great to see him out there. Moves it forward inside 50 for Redland. So can they create a chance here? Brodie Foster nearly had his head taken off.
By Jackson Payne.
By Jackson Payne. So if the name says anything, he's certainly got a bit of pain he's hiding in there, I'd imagine.
Oh, look, he's...
Kolajasny's dragging him off. It's all happening.
Oh, that was the greatest dive for a smother there too, but it was the fake kick from Kolajasny. I was laughing a bit. If Jackson Payne is a competitor, he's a massive competitor, and he'd be wanting to just give a little bit back.
Yeah, I think he'll be eyeing off Jack Leslie as this game progresses. Boakey can't quite get there, sliding in for it, trying to take it on the half volley. Towed forward by Baru. Will he go again? He runs past the footy, and Redland have the numbers there to be able to clean up. Out the back of the stoppage, the handball intercepted by our man, Greenwell. He whacks it forward in the left boot. They've got numbers inside 50. A good mark. Really good mark taken at the back from Boone.
Yeah, he takes off, does Boone. Gets it to Clay Cameron, 30 metres from his own goal. Chips it across. Brad Rees. He's got Rolls. Dropped at his ankles, but Rolls did well to control it. Chips it forward. That's better from Redland. At least they're holding onto the ball and hitting their targets. Salter towards Hamilman. Hamilman can't take the mark. It drops at the feet there. Towed forward by Hamilman. It's a long-range Hackett goal, but it's out of bounds on the full. It will be a free kick to the Suns. Another foray forward that's just been squashed for Redland. 46 points they trail.
So the umpire has sent Kolajasny back to take his kick again. Redland have certainly been better in the last probably 5 to 7 minutes. I'm sure their coaching staff would have asked the question of them to really get back in the contest and want to be moving the footy forward a little bit. They were just a bit starstruck, I think, for a moment, as Kolajasny goes off and has a run. They move it out of their defensive 50 now, although they're content to walk back in. There's a free kick for holding, and it is going to Gilmore, it seems. It is. So Gilmore took off then, gave a couple of handballs off and was held up for that one. So a nice easy let off there. Foster on half-back now. He looks into the corridor and looks up and finds Jack Leslie.
That's Portelli. He's got the nice pencil-thin moustache going on, Portelli as well. They move the ball down the outer side. Here's the class of Kolajasny. Using the long left foot to half-back. Oh, great grab! Luke O'Sullivan gets over the top, takes it on his chest over the top of the Gold Coast Suns forward. Chips it towards the boundary line. Finds Adrian Williams. See the Suns player there in Tui Loa holding his head in back play because he
worse for wear after the attack of O'Sullivan then. That was a great grab.
Just had 84 kilos sitting on his melon.
It's probably been a little bit easier for the Suns forwards in the last 15, 20 minutes than that, but it's a good effort from O'Sullivan. The Suns have all the numbers up the line as the long bailout kick comes from Redland. A good spread from this contest. The kick straight up in the direction of Kolajasny. He wheels around on that notorious left boot. That's a great kick in the corridor. They can run it in now. Baru from about 30 out. He looked to have just hooked that one straight off the boot. Had a bit of frontal pressure coming and just tried to squeeze that one under the man running to smother that one. And puts that through his left-hand side. So 9-5-59. The Suns plays 2-1-13 for the Redland Bombers. We've had 20 minutes gone in this second term. Redland have been better in the last few minutes as opposed to the way they started this second term, Michael Price.
No, absolutely. Ethan as Boone kicks it long down the line. It's a tangle between Hamilman and Max Spencer. That's been an enthralling matchup to watch, and I reckon Spencer's got Hamilman's number at the moment, albeit that the ball isn't being delivered that super well. Every time they have had a contest, Spencer's been able to spoil as Hamilman looks for the 45 kick and finds the experience of Brad Howard. Handball back inboard to Cameron, who 1-2s with Howard. Now down the wing. Good right foot kick towards Jackson Payne. It's punched away from him. Look at the pace of Dads on the boundary line. It's a wobbling mongrel torp and it bounces to the right. Just inside the field of play, you'll get a throw in right forward pocket next to the point post. And that'll favour Redland as we're getting more PA tests here.
Something we may have to get used to, I think, as the afternoon progresses. Michael Price, the tap one down. A really good spot then was Stephen. He gives the handball out that far side, but once again, this pressure from the Suns is elite. Scrimshaw, the handball off Portelli was wrapped up. Holding the ball is the decision.
That was a great tackle there from Brad Howard. Now, he's had one of the better games I've seen Brad Howard have in many weeks. Of course, he was called in as a late emergency a week or two ago after making his way out of the side. So got some great experience. Of course, he was at St Kilda on the list for 3 years, played a couple of AFL games for them, but has been a good servant for Redland. And he hasn't scored a goal this year, so let's see what he can do here to lift the spirits of the Bombers.
No opportunity like the present. He comes in from about 35 out. He's a deliberate approach, and that's a good kick. He had the fist in the air straight away. So Howard able to get Redland's third for the afternoon. Boy, did they need that one. They were able to just peg this margin back ever so slightly.
First goal for the second quarter too. Redland here, 22 minutes gone of the second term, and it's back to a 40-point margin. 59 plays 19. This is NEFL TV through our broadcast partner Bar TV, and you can see the trainers out there going to both sides, all armed with the bum packs of Elastoplast as well. They're our proud supporters of State League footy here in Queensland, Northern Territory, New South Wales and Canberra as well on NEFL TV. I'm Michael Price, and this is Ethan Mackey as umpire Manthe is going to bang it down in the middle to get us going again.
So Malone and Arnold to do battle. Malone certainly won the honours that time. Can they work it down and get a little bit of momentum here working forward Redland late in this term? No decision then from the umpire was an interesting one, maybe an in-the-back call, but nevertheless it is play on. That's a good mark taken in defence then by Miller. He was able to cover off very well and take that one on the intercept.
So Damien Stephen, cross half-back, drops it back into Brad Howard. Trying to inject a little bit of enthusiasm with his experience into the Redland situation at the minute. It's a long kick down the line. It's going to be Mills going for it. It's slapped away from him, picked up by Payne. He overcooks the kick. He was looking for Christensen. Goes through the legs of Spencer. Here's Hamilman. Picks it up. Left foot snap. Has he curled it back? No, he hasn't. Straight through for a behind. So Redland with their second behind. 3-2-20 The Suns 9-5, 59, 39 points the margin, 24 gone, second term.
Spencer, a great kick out, 50 metres, like a bullet finds Leslie. Then I think Matty Hamilman just thought there was a lot more pressure than there was. He certainly had time then, but wasn't able to use all of it and wasn't able to put that one through for a much-needed second goal in a row for Redland. But the Suns can make them pay here. Jesse Lonergan in space, gives the handball back to Foster. He runs and gives up to Greenwell. What a player and what a game this guy is having this afternoon. He dances inside one, goes to the line. What a finish. Fitzroy Greenwell, he is having some sort of an afternoon. And that is a symbolism of his afternoon, that finish then.
What a cracking finish and what an exciting young player. They've got some fantastic Indigenous talent, the Gold Coast Suns, and that is absolutely no different. Fitzroy Greenwell, what a cracking goal. He's pulled off a couple of those in the few games we've seen him play here on Neefle TV. Very exciting, a lot of pace, and obviously some great skills. Well done, Fitzroy Greenwell.
When you're on, you're on. And he is at the moment, the young man. That's a really classy finish then. And as we ever so often see, a 2-goal turnaround. I mean, you had it down the other end. Hamilman with a goal that in his own words, I think, in his own admission, he should have finished that one. Comes down the other end there, and the Suns, you can't let a classy side like them, who are so good on the outside, a chance to do that, because they'll take it down there and make you pay exactly like they did then.
Coast to coast, of course. So it's back to 45 points the margin late in the second term, Neefle TV. Malone beaten to it this time by Brumley. Ball spills out wide. Rees, he tried to get his hands to it, and again it stacks on the mill just forward of the centre circles. Coming up was kind of nutting. Last with the ball, Hayden Batoli-Simmons. There's Malone again, the big brick outhouse. The ball spills out. It's a good handball there from Foster to actually break the traffic, but it's intercepted there by Payne. He gets tackled. He lets loose the ball, and it's going to be a free kick. No, Jackson Payne will take the free kick. He was held a little bit lingering. So, look, this isn't out of the realms of possibility in his heyday, but he's going to pop it up to a dangerous spot. It's there for Christensen to rove at the back, curls around onto the boundary line. Clever little pass. Just lowered the eyes. He could have blazed away, did the fancy snap on the outside of the boot, but he hit Jack Rolls. And Jack Rolls will have a ping at him. And he's only about 25 metres out. We're right behind him here on Neefle TV. Again, well done by Christensen, showing the class there just to lower the eyes.
Just assessed the situation really well there, Michael. I mean, he could have blazed away and gone for the shot, or even popped it to the top of the square, but was able to hold it up. As Rolls comes in, he's had a good afternoon.
Jack Rolls kicks wide. It's one behind. So they're the chances. Frustrating. Redland need to use those chances, Ethan. They get so few of them, and when you're presented with a shot 25 metres out, you must drill it.
Yeah, never gave that one a chance, unfortunately. Just didn't kick through the footy, as we see so often from players kicking from around that 20 to 25 metre area. It's just that stab at the ball, and never gave it a chance. But can they make amends here, Redland, and get another opportunity? Lyons with a tumbling punt inside 50. Christensen holds that. Well, that was going in every which direction when that came to his hands there, and he was able to watch that run one right into the mitts. He takes a really good mark. That was a tough opportunity, and wrapped that one up.
It was a floater. That's a finger breaker, and he's absolutely just been in the right spot and took it well. But he must finish here to give them something to go into half-time with, a little bit of momentum just to get them thinking positively.
Christensen comes in. He'll have to kick from about 45. Looks to have kicked through the footy pretty well. Just puts it to the left of the big sticks. So, a case for Redland here. They're just not. They need some reward for the effort that they are able to put in here, because they've certainly had the opportunities. They're getting it locked inside their forward 50, but just aren't able to put that scoreboard pressure on. Collar
Jasny with the kick in. That's a throw. That is an absolute throw, and the umpires pinged him for it too. It was Ryan Gilmore. Bit more like dummy half play. So Clay Cameron, be a big ask to ask him to drill this one from 50. But we all know the story. Man who's come back from, well, only 4 months ago, being diagnosed with testicular cancer, 2 lots of chemo, heaps of courage, and his first game back. Kicks it from 49. He gets good purchase, but it's going to drop short. Big pack of players fly. It's At the deck, Jackson Payne put his head over the ball as he usually does, but it was rushed by Heron, and it's going to be a behind as the Gold Coast bring the ball back in.
So Collar Jasny deep in the back pocket. He's had a busy afternoon so far, as you'd expect from someone of his calibre. He goes long up the line there to a contest. There's a few numbers there and calls for in the back on the Redland player. They work it into the corridor now, and the mark is taken by Malone just inside 50 here. Does he have the distance? He's got his teammates telling him to just hold it up and look up there.
Well, I reckon at his best he might just. But he's a big unit. If he puts all the weight behind it, you never know what's going to happen.
That's certainly right. Michael Price, as he comes in, Malone, he'll have to kick from outside 50. It was an awkward-looking approach. The kick to the top of the square. Hamilton flies. Brodie at ground level is able to tidy up for the Suns. Gives to Scrimshaw. Back to Brodie. He's running into a bit of traffic, but assesses the situation beautifully and is able to move it forward. They've got all the space in the world here, the Suns. They run now. Arnold, the big fella, puts the foot down. Gives to Greenwell. Oh, pushes off one. He's wrapped up. Just gets it on the boot. And the siren rings for half-time. So the Suns displaying their ability to really put the scoreboard pressure on then. Just put Redland to the sword, and Redland had a bit of an opportunity late but weren't able to make the most of that. So the Suns skip away here at Metricon Stadium. A beautiful Saturday evening for football. NEAFL round 13 action. It's half-time here at Metricon. 10-5, the Suns 65. Lead Redland 3-5-23. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you shortly on NEAFL TV.
And welcome back to Metricon Stadium, the home of the Gold Coast Suns. They're taking on the Redland Bombers for NEFL TV round 13 through our broadcast partner Bar TV. Michael Price and Ethan Mackey calling all of the action. At half-time, it's the Gold Coast Suns 10-5-65 leading Redland 3-5-23. 42 points the margin. And Ethan, it's just been a case of the Suns getting more of the ball and using it better and using their pace to advantage, I think.
Yeah, pressure and run have been the two that have come to mind for me, Michael. They've just been able to really get up in the faces of the Redland defenders, especially coming out of the defensive half. And that run, once they get it, they're just running in waves and overlapping and spreading on the outside. And Redland simply can't handle it at the moment, so they're really going to need to look at nullifying the impact that the Suns are having on the outside if they're going to be any chance of coming back into this contest. So it's a 42-point deficit at the moment. They're going to need to start like a house on fire and push on here if they're going to get back into this on the scoreboard. Need more input from their power forward in Matthew Hamilman. Only the one goal won, but as I say, the ball hasn't been inside 50 that well. Just to go through some of the disposal winners for both sides, the top disposal winners on the field, Cade Kolajasny for the Suns with 17, Brad Howard off halfback has 17, Brody from the Suns with 16 and Jack Rolls with 16 as well. Umpire James Strybos has the ball in the middle, and we're just about to get underway for the second half here at Metricon Stadium. It's the Suns versus Redland as Craig Malone got the tap down. Again, he just lays the tackle on Jesse Lonigan. There's a whistle from the umpire furthest away. Free kick will actually go to Lonigan. He wants to move quickly. Wheels around. Right foot kick. Dangerous spot. Moving to the front of it. Pack was Boki. Chasing onto the ball there, taking out towards the boundary line. Jonah Lick didn't, he didn't disguise it that well because the umpire said you did it deliberately as well. Just tried to let the umpire know he was dribbling it casually over the boundary line, fumbling. Umpire Brett Ritchie having none of it. Too much AFL experience there. So kicking the ball back in. Lockie McDonald. Ball spills to the front of the pack. Attacking it beautifully there was Arnold getting dumped into the ground. Will Brodie, he's got his arm around the ball and around the neck of Stephen Mills. The ball spills between them. Picked up by Rolls. Gets the handball out. Mills, he can't pick it up. And that was picked up in the end by James Barnes. Not seen a lot of the ball. He takes it over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in the forward pocket, and it looks like the Suns are still fired up as well. They are. They've come out and really just put Redland under the pump and given them the notice early here in this third term that they're going to come out and show the exact same intensity that they did display in that second term in particular. The tap one down there from Malone, a hard contest there. I think Scrimshaw was the one who was absolutely battered off the football. Redland can clear out of their defensive 50 now. A wayward left foot kick comes out. Hamilman got in there. He's the one that you say needs to have an impact. Michael Price, ground level, trying to get clean hands on the footy here. Redland, can they move it forward? The kick was affected. A really good effort there from Woolley, putting pressure on for the Suns. And out that far side, well, it's all red and yellow jerseys out there as Spencer gives the handball up, looking inside 50. Kolajasny, what can he do with this one? Puts it at the top of the square. Arnold there, had a hand. Was he held? Umpire deemed he was not. Redland can come out and counter this here. It was a bit of a tangle. Point goes through regardless. So 66 plays 23, 43 points the margin in favour of the Suns. Redland trying to move it out over the head of Howard. Leslie at the back for the Suns. He can't pick it up. Lockie McDonald did get belted into the ground by Patoli Simmons. It could have been a push in the back. Nothing happening. So we'll get a ball up. 60 metres from the Redland goal, or the Suns goal I should say. It's Brumley slapping it down. Lonigan, Howard bursting through, trying to get rid of it. As Kyle Walsh taken high, indiscriminate arm. He'll get a free kick at half back for the Bombers. So Walsh 50 metres there, and impeding on the marking area was the ruling from the umpire, and rightfully so. I think it was Greenwell who was just stuck in that contest there and got in a little bit of a nasty spot. Kyle Walsh has been quiet this afternoon. He is a Macrovat product in the quaffle as well and floats between the two, but he'll need to get busy in this second half through that midfield for Redland. He looks up and goes inside 50 there. A big kick in there, and they get hands to it. A good mark taken there. Some space finally for Redland inside their forward 50, and the mark is held by Bertoli Simmons. Yeah, it's good work from the returning skipper. Just a good solid mark. It was a generous 50 from the umpire as well. But he's got to go back and knock this through. He's had a shot at goal. He's missed one.
They're 7 down. They need a lift from the skipper.
So Bertoli Simmons comes in. He'll kick from about 25, and once again, the set shot woes are prominent for Redland. He never gave that one any chance, and he put it across the face. So another behind for them. They move to 3-6-24, the Suns. Well, they're way ahead at 10-6-66.
Just wasted opportunities again. They get so few of them. 3 goals, 6 for Redland as the Suns bring the ball back in. Max Spencer from Palm Beach just sucks Brad Reeves in. Gives the handball off to Kolajasny. Beautifully weighted kick for Kolajasny. That's a big hit on Ryan Gilmore from Christensen. He does well. Gilmore takes the ball. He's going to put it back inside the corridor, just towards the centre square, and finds Jack Scrimshaw is getting more and more involved, and the senior figures at the club would be absolutely loving that, seeing the number 7 draft pick from 2016 get back and heavily involved in moving forward. There's Jacob Heron, stuck in the corridor. That's good pressing work from Harrison Kerr from Redland. Oh, it bounces, clean bowls Jack Leslie, so he toes it forward. Now it's picked up by Salter. Over to Brad Reeves. They've got the numbers here, Redland, if they can just hit the target. Well done from Payne, who got rid of Max Spencer. Hamilman picks it up. He's smothered by 3 Suns. And it's a ball up at centre half forward. Better movement from Redland, but just not quite finishing it off.
Payne wasn't too happy about that as well. Wanted the handball from Hamilman. He sucked 2 in there and just couldn't get it on the outside. Brody was a real winner of that contest there. Got the hands to it at ground level and was able to dish to the outside. They can run now. Look at this overlap running here from the Suns. Will he ever bounce? He will. Moving it forward is Symington on the boot. A good kick into the corridor. Boakey just tried to protect the drop of the footy, but it was cut off well. And Yagmore can counter now for Redland.
Oh, it's a booming left foot kick inside 50. Payne was pushed out. No, he was trying to tell the umpire he was. Leslie has the ball. He loops a handball now towards Gilmore. It's back to Max Spencer. Smothering ball. Is it out of bounds on the full? It is. Thought it might have come off the hands of Jackson Payne, but it'll be a free kick to the Redland Bombers, just forward of centre wing here on the commentary box side on NEFL TV through Bar TV. There's Thomas Salter. Long kick, dangerous position. Now there's been a whistle on play. There's been a push out. I think it actually might go to Matthew Hamilman. It has. Jack Leslie, was it, who just infringed, pushed him out of the marking contest before he had a chance to get there. So Matthew Hamilman basically must, Ethan, go back and kick this goal.
Yeah, this is just non-negotiable here for Big Hammer. He's got to put this one through, and you'd expect someone of his calibre to be able to kick this one. He's a noted set shot kicker, the leading goal kicker in the NEFL this year. He comes in. Oh, he's bent that from left to right, and he's able to sneak that one through. Boy, was that desperately needed here for Redland. They've put that through in their 4th of the evening. They pegged this deficit back to a 6 straight goal margin.
So 2 goals to Matthew Hamilman. The Suns 10-6-66, 4-6-30. 6 goals. That's better from the tall timber. That's his 40th goal for the season. Gives Redland a little bit of life. You'd love to see them get 1 or 2 quick ones just to see how the young Suns would respond. They'll get back into the middle. Umpire Brett Ritchie is welcoming them all back into the centre circles. Need a good decisive ruck contest between Malone and Brumley here. Bounce favoured Malone. Taps it down. Kyle Walsh did well at ground level. Got the handball to Malone. Back to Jai Lyons. He tried the no-look handball and it was intercepted by Nutting. Kicks it long. Boone. Juggling effort. He's done a quite good job in defence having a go at that as Adam Boone. He's better with his hands above his head than you would think from his size.
So Licht was pushed on kick, and it's going to be a downfield free kick. So Redland just doing a little bit of attacking here in the early stages of the 3rd term. They move it along quickly. The long bomb inside hits the post. Does big Jackson Payne. He was in a different number jersey than he initially started in, which was due to my indecision for calling him, but he's hit that post halfway up from about 50 out. What a roost.
It was a good roost. It puts Redland within 35 points, so they're within the 6-goal margin as the Suns bring it out through Katsiris. Brumley takes the mark in front of his opposite number in Malone. He's at right half back. Brumley's going to come long down the line. Geez, that's over the line. It's into the third row, and it's going to be out of bounds on the full. So Brad Howard with another possession for Redland. Right in front of the Gold Coast Suns bench. Howard now up to 19 disposals, getting leads from everywhere. But there's a fair bit of pressure on long kick now. And this is going to favour the Suns. This is to a 4-on-2. And Josh Woolley, the Palm Beach Currumbin player who came in late for the Suns, took a beautiful mark.
Really good mark. Attack that one. Moving it out of defensive 50 now. Max Spencer takes the mark on that far side. It was a bit of an interesting kick into the forward 50 to say at the least from Redland. I mean, there are a number of red jerseys there. That is an interesting kick. Just on cue. Jackson Payne comes across and takes the mark. He got a clip from Jacob Heron. The umpires called for 50. I'm not too sure there was a lot in it. It didn't look great from first sight. But Payne has the footy here. He's at the top of the square, and he'll put this one through. No issues for Jackson Payne, so he kicks it all the way into the scoreboard. A really good intercept mark there. He was able to stay in the contest and stay involved and was sniffing that one out from a mile away. So Redland, they're really putting their best foot forward here in the early stages. Michael Price.
Yeah, they certainly are. Jackson Payne with his second goal. So he and Hamilman with 2 apiece. And Brad Howard with the other goal. Scoreboard's just registered that. Took them a little while. Nearly 10 minutes gone of the third term on NEFL TV. Michael Price and Nathan Mackey calling all of your action through Bar TV, our broadcast partner, and the occasional PA explosion from behind here at Metricon. We're in the rooftop bar, which is going to be housing Collingwood members tonight. Fantastic here to visit the Gold Coast Suns here at Carrara. Ball bounced in the middle. Brumley taps it forward. Jai Lyons in the headgear. Gets tackled down there by Brodie Foster. Been in the academy, the Gold Coast, for about 5 years as Brodie Foster.
He's been a very good player for the Suns reserves, and of course a lot of clubs around the Gold Coast. He's been a big contributor for the Surfers Paradise Demons over the years. Brodie Foster, as it's tied up in the scrimmage at the moment. Redland, they're getting a run on here. Christensen gives out to Yagmore, and that looping left boot from him. Dangerous inside 50. Hamilman had Max Spencer where he wanted him, and the Bombers are coming.
Well, this is what we needed to see. The Tall Timbers operating in conjunction. First of all, it was Jackson Payne. He might have intercepted that mark, but this is what you want to see. Matt Hamilman clunking the ball in a marking contest against Max Spencer, and of course he must drill this for his third.
So Hamilman, a tighter angle than what he kicked from about 3 minutes earlier. He comes in, he looks to slid that one across the face. He's leaning to his left to try and work that one back, but I'm afraid that's not how it works sometimes, and he puts that through for a minor score. So Redland with a lot of attack here. We've had 11.5 played in this third term.
Only the 13 scoring shots, Redland, but the Suns have only had 16. The difference is 28 points. Long kick in the Baru direction. That's a good juggling effort under a lot of pressure from Tom Salter. Emmanuel Baru kicks long, down the line, at the back. Oh, Mills can't quite control it. Picked up by Lower it was. Handball off. Gave it to Foster. Foster jigs one way, then the other. Kicks long. It's a 2-on-5, and Yagmore over the top. Had the advantage, had the sit. Made sure he didn't drop the mark. It's a good pass coming off too.
He's been great back to this afternoon, Yagmore, and they can move it forward now and attack. A good kick up, and Hamilman will get another option.
Well, he's got to have another crack here, Matt Hamilman. He's kicked 2 goals too. He is the man for them. He's the rock star. He's the inside forward 50. The goal square down at Scottsdale Park is Hamo's house. He's got to bring Hamo's house to Carrara, and he's got to drill this home for him.
So he's going to be the man that needs to step up. Had a quiet first half. He's been a lot busier here in this third term. He comes in, opens up the angle a little more. That's a better looking kick. He loves it off the boot. No issues there for Matty Hamilman. He puts through his third for the evening. And wow, the questions are being asked of the young Suns here at the moment.
Well, this is it. We saw youthful enthusiasm and speed basically overcome Redland in the first half of the game. All of the pressure that they were putting on, the turnovers, and they just got a lot of their goals out of that. Now they're starting to stand up, the Tall Timbers. We've been waiting for it the entire game, especially Matt Hamilman, to get his stuff working.
I think just they're being a little bit more patient with the footy. As we've been seeing, the decision-making is a lot more improved to what we saw in the first half, and that is the reason that Hamilton has been able to get away from Max Spencer a little bit and been able to really feature in these contested marking contests. And he's putting his best foot forward here in this third term, and Redland are closing. So
a change in the ruck. Adrian Williams in there for Redland. It was well done by Scrimshaw, who basically just went straight through the traffic, handballed it off, looking for Connor Nutting, just diving on the ball there. Obstructed, but it was Jonah Licht, and the umpire will ball it up, umpire Ritchie. So it's Williams versus Brumley. Brumley cleverly taps it. Then it's followed up there by Rolls, who toes it forward. It just lands into the arms of Collar Jasny. A long left foot kick, dangerous spot, good defensive mark by Mills. Stephen Mills, a ripping mark, saves the day in defence for the Bombers.
Mills out that far side. The kick probably didn't favour his teammate, but they've got representation out there, Redland. The handball, well, that didn't go to anyone they wanted to. Nutting, he looks inside 50, a drilling ball in. A fist was able to be put on that contest. Just at the top of the 50 here. Can the Suns get it forward? They would be liking a goal to stem the flow here. Redland have really been pressing in this third quarter. Suns with all the numbers behind the footy, and they'll wheel around and go again inside 50, but there's white jerseys everywhere, and the mark is taken in defence.
And Mills called Jai Lyons out beautifully then, said it was mine. Lyons now honours with the handball, Rolls. Drills it towards his teammate in Batoli Simmons. He's got somebody on that he likes at centre half forward. Hits his target with a beautiful kick and finds Harrison Kerr. Now, we were watching the warm-ups, and Harrison Kerr was having a few pings from around about 55. This is right on the edge of his distance. Umpire's saying to Peter Yagmore, get out of that area. Tell you what, he was floating around for the hand-off to Peter Yagmore because he has got the distance and then some. But Harrison Kerr could really bring the Bombers to life here 15 minutes into the third term. Kicks it from right on the edge of the centre square. Has it got the legs? It's got the legs. A ripping kick from Harrison Kerr. And the Bombers have come to life here in the third term. The Suns 10-6-66. Redland 7-8-50. It's back to 16 points the margin. We've played 16 minutes of the third term.
Great call, Michael Price. He certainly saw that one coming. They've all got around Kerr then. That's a great roost. We saw him earlier on. He was pinging him from that area. It's a lot different having to do that in a game than in the warm-up, but he has taken the responsibility on his shoulders there, has Harrison Kerr, and that's a great finish. Really brings Redland right back into this contest. So they've been scoring at a rate of knots in this third quarter, and the margin is back to 16 points. I think it started the term at 42, the deficit. So they've really put the Suns to the sword here.
Absolutely. Bang down in the middle again. Malone, yet another hit out. Will it be to their advantage, though? No, the Suns will be able to come away through Brody. Sweeping handball to the bulky Lonigan, who wobbles one towards half forward. Beautifully picked up. Well done, Fitzroy Greenwald. Dances. Handball back to Lonigan. Lonigan from 45 kicks long. And over the top, Baru takes the mark in front of Mills. Better ball movement from the Suns. That was the kind of stuff they were doing in the first half. And Emmanuel Baru hasn't troubled the scorers so far tonight. We've got Boakey with a couple, Harry Symington with a couple, and Cooper Portelli with a couple. So Baru from 30 metres. Just leaned back on that one a bit and pulled it to the left, one behind. 10-7-67, plays 7-8-50. So it's 17 points the margin after 17 minutes of the third quarter.
Would have liked that one there, the Gold Coast. All the attack has been to the left of screen in this third stanza as the ball's moved back in. That's a great kick from Yagmore. He has been super this afternoon for Redland. He's been under the pump in the first half and was able to weather the storm very well. They look out that far side and are just content holding it up for momentarily. This is Boone. He goes a bullet up the wing, and it's a good kick. Just shy of centre wing. Redland playing the possession game at the moment a little. They understand the situation of the game and that they've got themselves back into it from a scoreboard point of view, and they're just content at the moment with holding onto the footy and making the young Suns run around Metricon Stadium a little bit. The kick up the wing, he was smashed.
Downfield free kick, mate. Adam Boone got absolutely belted there by Cooper Portelli. Just probably a just a little bit frustrated that Boone was getting away from him there, young Portelli, and it's always tempting to drop your shoulder and throw it in, but it's cost his side a fair bit as O'Sullivan now is going to kick along inside 50. Big pack flies. At the front it was Payne. Roving Christensen. Handball off to Kerr, the last goal scorer. Rolls. Tommy Salter kicks it inside 50. It's a wobbler. Oh, the Suns, and a great mark taken there by Jacob Heron.
So Heron turning around in circles a bit. The umpire's blown a whistle. It's play on. Come out this far side to Brody. That kick went probably 15.1 metres. That barely went the distance.
Pretty close, wasn't it?
He looks back into the corridor and finds Lonergan. He's a stocky lad. He's hard to miss, and that's a good switch. This can open up the ground if the Suns are willing to spread. Spencer out of defence. Out the far side now, and they just hold it up because the Suns haven't got over there. Redland have covered this one off pretty well.
Yeah, some good signs for the Suns in the AFL with Kolajasny coming back and just showing those really good signs of class that he has shown so often for them.
So they move it down the line there. The kick in the direction of Arnold, but at the back floating is Salter. He gives the handball off and they can go now. Bertoli Simmons from about 70 out, lowers the eyes, but popping into the hole there in a good position was Max Spencer. Yeah,
he goes across the face of goal and finds Lonergan, but Christensen had taken a step or so over the top. It's a little bit Tiggy Touchwood, but Lonergan will take it. It's a 50-metre penalty in favour of the Gold Coast Suns. This should take him right up to the centre of the ground. Not a bad place to start from when you're looking at it. Umpire's got that. I reckon he's got 50 exactly there. Well spaced out. Lonergan kicks to a vacant man at half forward. It's chipped forward. There's Kolajasny. He'll finish this off. He'll finish it off. Kate Kolajasny. Welcome back. Class finish on the left foot. Gets his first goal and settles things down for the Suns. 11-7-73 to 7-8-50. Back to 23 points the margin. 20 minutes gone in the third quarter. And when you've got the skills like that, when you've got the shiny box of Sid Chrome tools, you might as well just pull them out and use them. And Cade Kolajasny can do that.
Yeah, there's no doubt someone of Cade's quality. He's in the top 2 or 3 players on the ground in terms of his ability. And he's just got that one. You knew as soon as he got that footy from 50, he was only a few metres inside the chalk there. He sized up the big sticks and put that one through. How fatal does that 50 metres look? I know it was a little one down the other end from Christensen, but I mean, a get out of jail free card for Lonergan. He goes out that far side and a couple of touches there, and it goes to someone like Kolajasny getting inside 50. That proves really costly at a time in the third quarter where Redland really can't afford to be letting that through.
Yeah, that's a good call, Ethan, because it was, it's a harsh penalty for just taking that one step over, but you've got to be very careful with the umpires as well.
So they look to work it forward now. Foster out of the stoppage, dances around one, goes out. It's a tumbling ball out this far side here, but the Suns look like they have the time to be able to clean it up. The pressure is being applied. Coming across there was Howard, laying a tackle, getting in there and intercepting that one, trying to steal it back now. Other Suns, and the umpire has called for the ball there, so really well done from Howard there. He's been able to hold that one and force the 50-50.
He has, dead set, had one of the best games I've ever seen him play for Redland, Brad Howard today. He's one of the top disposal winners as well, as that's propelled forward for Redland. But once again, turned over. The Suns through Josh Woolley, a late inclusion. The 2017 Premiership player with Palm Beach Currumbin in their victory over Labrador. It's Spencer, former teammate at Palm Beach, kicks it long, and that's taken by Stephen Mills under a lot of pressure. Mills copped one around the face. I think it wasn't anything nasty. It was just an indiscriminate hand, but it's going to cost a 50-metre penalty. So he's going to go back and drill a goal through for Redland, and that's a welcome goal at the 22-minute mark of the third quarter. It's going to drag it back to 17 points again. So that's within 3 goals, and I think that's a fair return for Redland in this third quarter. You're going to see the Suns pile on the pressure, but will their youthful enthusiasm or their youth be a disadvantage with the legs running out later on as Smith pops it over and gets Redland's 8th goal. So it's 11-7-73 to 8-8-56, 17 points the margin. We've played 23 minutes of the third term on NEFL TV. I'm Michael Price. This is Ethan Mackey.
Maybe squaring the ledger there, that one for the 50 that probably wasn't. So 50 going the other way for the Suns there where Kolajasny converted. So That just pegs that one back for Redlands. I think they would be happy with where the game lies at the moment. Where there's a lot of young guys within this Suns side. I mean, the ones who started that pressure early on in the game down forward for the Suns, the Greenwalls of the world, the Lowers, the Baroos, Boki, they might be the ones that could potentially struggle to run out this last quarter. So I think if Redland are within that 2 to 3 goal margin, they would give themselves every chance to be able to overrun the Suns.
All of those names that you mentioned are all in the forward 50 for the Gold Coast Suns at the moment. So they're still looking at them to apply the forward pressure with their speed and try to force the turnovers late in the game as well, because Redland are slightly older list. They could be getting running out of legs too. So it'll be an interesting thing to see the rest of the game in that regard.
A battle of attrition moving on throughout the remainder of this contest as the umpire balls that one up, and that did not favour either of the ruckmen. They both had to go for a hike for that, so we'll have another go. He tosses this one up. The tap there, won by Malone. They're working it out of this stoppage. Really good pace from Howard. Has a bounce from 55. Loads up. Cameron, can he get on the score sheet? How good would that be? Ground level, can they reel this one back in? Redland, the handball was a bit array. That's a great tap into the corridor there from Christensen. Feeding back Patoli Simmons. The snap never got much purchase. The mark couldn't be taken in the goal square. So Redland really looking lively there out of the stoppage. Howard, he is playing a blinder this afternoon.
Absolutely, Brad Howard, as we say, on the St Kilda list for 3 years. That's a long kick in for the Suns. It hasn't been touched. It went out in front of Kolajasny. So Harrison Kerr has the ball right on the boundary line. He went for a pass to Jackson Payne, but the umpire's going to drag him back around. Fair enough, wasn't behind the mark. But we saw Harrison Kerr drill his goal about 10 minutes ago from 50, so he's got the distance, but he drops it to the top of the square. Big fly, off hands, probably too deep. That kick just needed to be a little bit forward of the centre square. 73 plays 58, sorry. It's now 15 points the margin.
Yeah, not a great kick in there from Kerr. You know, you want to either be putting that to 20 or 25 metres out where the Suns can't spoil that through, or kicking the goal, not to the top of the square. It's an easy one for the Suns to put away there, and Leslie just put the fist through that as it's moved back into proceedings. Someone got a push in the back there. This will go in the Suns' favour.
Yeah, it looks like it's Ryan Gilmore who copped that push in the back.
So Gilmore moving out this near wing. Brumley now done a lot of the battle today against his direct opponent Malone. They move it down the line here. It's a good kick. Taken over the shoulder there, no doubt about that one. This will be McDonald will get the free kick there. So just a little bit eager there from Tom Salter. His opponent there came over the top and didn't leave the umpire with any other decision to make about that one other than a free kick. So they're 70 from home here. It's allowed Redland to get all their defence back and set up. He looks up and goes a kick to about 30 out to a dangerous spot. Redland have all the numbers behind that one. They're good pressure applied. It was Greenwell. Sorry, that was Lower. He was stalking his direct opponent then and nearly forced a turnover then. So that probably answers the question about whether they had the legs or not. He was coming like a bull at a gate. Yep,
showed more toe than the old Roman sandal as the kicked by Miller. Kicks in the Howard versus Nutting direction. 50-50 contest. Ball hits the deck. Tom Salter with the handball received. Drills a pass to Clay Cameron. Handball to Jai Lyons. Here's the pace of their own, the Bombers. 2 bounces for Lyons. Gets around his opponent and kicks one of the goals of the year. No, kicks one of the behinds of the year. He missed. 11-8-74 to 8-11-59. So 19 scoring shots apiece, but it's 15 points the margin in favour of the Suns late in the third.
Yeah, Redland have definitely showed they've got the ability to be able to score quickly here, so nothing is out of the picture here by any means. Yagmore probably could have marked that one. He decided to go for the fist. He's had a great afternoon. Peter Yagmore has been a good servant of Redland for quite some time now, so the ball up just on centre wing, slightly in Redland's favour here. They are certainly pressing late in this third term.
Gee, wouldn't you love that goal to Jai Lyons if you were a Redland coach at the moment, because that would have just given them plenty going into three-quarter time. Williams now. He hoiks it inside 50, and it's a big fly from Hamilman. Double fists it down, but it's roved beautifully front and centre by Josh Woolley. Has a couple of bounces, the PBC product. Gets onto the left foot. Kicks long in the direction of McDonald. It bounces kindly for him. He has a bounce of his own. loops a handball over the top. Well done, the Suns. They're moving it nicely. Here's Lower. Lower from 55. Speculating kick in the Bokey direction. Fisted forward by Bokey. Dangerous spot. Rove by the big fella. And kicked as Harrison Arnold hit the top of the post. Already got a goal, but he did very, very well. He's 192 odd centimetres, Harrison Arnold, so he's rangy. Did beautifully around his ankles with the ball there.
Very good movement from a tall lad like himself. That's great to see from Woolley there. Right down the back, he had an option on short. He opted to go the longer one and just completely opened up the play then for the Suns. The kick comes out and Leslie takes a good mark, was able to put Payne exactly where he wanted him. They move it inside 50 now. And this is McDonald. He's been busy the last couple of minutes as well, getting heavily involved. He won't back himself from there. He tries to spot up a kick right into the pocket. That was Portelli. Nearly had his head knocked into the third row.
Well, Jonah Lichter was at the front and he was jumped on by Portelli, but it was the spoil from Damien Stephen. Just came over the top. He was going to drop the mark, Symington, but... just got the smack in the ear hole from Damien Stevens, so he's going to have a chance at extending the lead after the siren at three-quarter time.
So a big kick here for Symington. He's already put through some from angles similar to this so far this evening. He comes in, the crowd fires up. He's hooked that one off the boot initially, and that's in fact out in the full by a fair distance over the far side as we see some players getting stuck into it here. There's certainly some feeling in this one, and Redland, to their credit, have been phenomenal in that third term. Have able to been able to peg this one back as players are still... There's still a bit spilling over here, so we'll just hold on for a moment.
Just a bit of emotion coming into it, and that's what you want to see from Redland. They're more experienced campaigners like Payne and even the smaller players, Howard going around, Hamilman, those kind of guys are just giving a little bit of shtick to the Gold Coast Suns. They know they're a relatively youthful squad. I wouldn't be going up and chesting Jesse Lonergan, though. I reckon that would be taking matters just a little bit too far.
I think Jackson Payne steering well clear of Jack Leslie as well. So three-quarter time here at Metricon Stadium. We're set for a thrilling finish. Redland have pegged this one back. The Suns lead 11-9-75, Redland 8-11-59. It's a 16-point game. A beautiful Saturday night here at Metricon Stadium on Neefel TV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you shortly.
Welcome back to Metricon Stadium. It is NEFL TV round 13. The Gold Coast Suns at home to the Redland Bombers. We're streaming live on NEFL TV with our broadcast partner, Bar TV. I'm Michael Price calling with Ethan Mackey. And Ethan, 16 points the margin at three-quarter time. The Suns lead it. Redland really came back in that quarter and scored a few vital goals. Hamilman and Payne getting involved. What can we see Redland coming right back into it in the last quarter?
I certainly can, and if they're able to just keep their patience with the football and take their time in having those options, I mentioned their decision-making. That term was a lot better than and a lot more improved than their first half. Now, this is a battle of experience versus youth. Whatever you want to take, I'm not too sure. That's where this one sort of sits, whether the Suns have the young legs to really be able to run out the older legs of Redland, or whether that experience sort of comes into play and they're able to understand the situation of the game a little bit better than the Suns. We'll have to find out, but it's certainly set up for an enthralling final term here at Metricon.
Leading possession winners on the ground, Jack Rolls for Redland with 24, Kate Kolajasny and Will Brodie 22 and 21 respectively for the Gold Coast Suns. When it comes to goals, Hamilman's got 3 with Jackson Payne 2 for Redland. Boakey, Symington and Portelli have 2 each for the Gold Coast Suns. Umpire Cameron Manthe holds it up in the middle of Metricon for NEFL TV round 13. Will underway for the final term as Brodie gets the clearance for the Suns. Kicks it to centre half forward and Boakey takes the mark in front of his opponent in Jonah Licht. Boakey wants to play on. Goes the left foot pass, spears a ball a little bit too low. It didn't find his intended target in Symington, so Redland should be able to get away here. Salter, the experienced Salter, just got it over the head of his opponent. Jackson Payne was the intended target, couldn't quite drag it in, and he and Jack Leslie take the ball over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in on the outer side here at Metricon.
Payne and Leslie have certainly had a battle this afternoon, those two. We saw them getting a bit of a tussle in that first term early on, where Payne, of course, had to go off with the blood rule and have his jersey replaced and all sorts of issues. So they're ones to watch in the final term as Redland look to work that one forward off the boot, just scrubbing it, gaining every metre they can. That one looks to be deliberate. Is the umpire going to call that? He doesn't. He deems that it was a skill error, that one, and that just goes over the boundary line about 60 metres out from home for Redland. So you'd feel that if they're going to be any chance here, they'll really want to be getting the first one any more for the Suns, and it might be a bit bigger an ask as the time wears down in this contest.
So Malone versus Brumley. Malone absolutely dominating the hitouts, 48-13 at the present time, but it's not translating on the scoreboard. The Suns getting the clearances. Here's Josh Woolley. Left foot kick. It's going to favour the Redland defence. I think he wanted to get it over the top of Scott Miller and find Fitzroy Greenwell running at ground level. Certainly has the toe to get around. Here's Luke O'Sullivan. He's at right half back for the Bombers. They're trailing by 16 points, 2 minutes gone, final term. Long kick down the line. That's an excellent mark taken by Ryan Dadds, Lions Academy member, also Morningside product. The 23rd player for Redland in tonight's game. So he takes the mark right on centre wing, commentary side. It's a long kick inside 50. Hamilman the target. Hamilman the one-hander. Couldn't quite hold it. Josh Woolley, ground level. He can't quite hold it. Well done, Howard. Back to Batoli Simmons, scrubs it inside 50. Max Spencer, like a goalkeeper, picked it up, but shot out a very ordinary handball, put his teammate under pressure. Kolajasny, he turns it over. Jackson Payne, handball. Reese, what's he going to do? Back to Payne. Payne tries the Ronaldo over the head. It didn't quite work. It's smothered, and it's going to be a throw in right forward pocket.
Would have been some sort of an effort that if he'd been able to get that one past the Suns defender, but a good smother was applied there. So Redland, they've got the footy locked down there. What can they do with this one? The rucks do battle. The tap one down by Malone. There's a number there. It's Christensen. Well, he just got loose at the top of the goal square there and was able to fall into a dangerous spot. So their set shots have been a bit of a worry this evening. I don't want to put something called a commentator's curse on Christensen here, but he should have no issues in putting this one through for their 9th for the evening.
14 goals for the year. Should have it.
He comes in, Christensen, kicks through the footy. A really nice approach there, efficient in his action, and he pops that one through. So this is a game we have on our hands now. It's a 10-point margin. We've had 3.5 played here at Metricon on a beautiful Saturday evening for football. Michael Price.
20 scoring shots apiece, and that's exactly what Redland and this game needed. As you said, nearly 4 minutes gone, final term. 8th on the ladder, or 10th on the ladder versus 8th on the ladder, the Gold Coast Suns. And they started off with a massive first term and 5 goals, kept Redland to 1 straight goal. But as the games got a little bit older, Redland got more involved as some of the more experienced heads, and the tackling efforts as well. Top tacklers in the game as well. 32 to 37 in favour of the Suns, so both sides tackling beautifully. Umpire Ritchie is going to put it down in the centre circles. Craig Malone versus Brumley. That's a good bounce from umpire Ritchie. Malone, dominant in the tap out, slaps it in the path of Salter. Enter Jesse Lonergan. Just picked his pocket, went back into the corridor, has a bounce, gets away from the lumbering Malone, does Lonergan. Kicks it inside 50. Good contest, good fist away. Ground level. There's Lower. Brody, snap! And Will Brody kicks it for the Suns. 12-9-81, Redland 9-11-65. Back to that 16 points, and Will Brody showing his class. 32 disposals and 10 clearances last week. Tops it off with a goal this week.
Yeah, he's been busy as well this afternoon, but take a bow. Jesse Lonergan, he got that ball shy of centre wing there out that far side. Saw there was nothing on offer. He ran back in the middle, took about 3 on, had 2 bounces, and that the kick inside 50 wasn't great, but it was just that courage to take the game on and really open that up, running and breaking lines there, and that created that opportunity inside 50. And what a finish from Brody as well. He was being tackled on the kick, but from about 30 out, got good purchase on the snap. That's one that just gives the Suns a little bit of breathing room here. They hold a 16-point margin. Umpire takes a step in to bounce the footy. It's a pretty good one. That sits right up in the air, and the tap is one down there by Arnold at ground level. Brody wins the football, pivoting around off the left boot. A raking kick inside 50. Can they get the numbers there at ground level? Greenwell. Redland look to be able to clear out here, and they can do out this far side, although only as far as the defence from Katsiris. Snapped forward. Payne attacked that footy, but Leslie did tremendously. The handball, though, that left a few questions in the air. Howard wrapped up in a good tackle there from Baru, and it's seen over the boundary line right on centre wing.
These experienced hard bodies of the Gold Coast Suns, Jack Leslie and Jesse Lonergan as well, really making their mark in the last 5 minutes, just buffeting a few players off the ball. It's what they need to do. Basically mentor some of these young players. Look at Will Brody go. Explodes away from the clearance. Chips a left footer inside 50. Big fisting effort there came from Licht. He's going to go back and try and claim a mark. Nothing happening at ground level. Redland player could be pinged. He's stuck over the ball. Umpire Manthe says nope. We're going to ball it up 45 metres from the Gold Coast Suns goal. They're leading by 16 points. 7 minutes gone, final term, Neefle TV.
So the Rucks do battle. Tap down and Redland can clear this one out. It's a bit of a kick and hope. Cutting that one off. Should have taken the mark there. Gilmore couldn't do so, but they look to have the time and the numbers there to be able to collect this one. Kolajasny at that far side. That's a dangerous kick. If it pays off, it pays dividends. And it looks like they'll get the one out here. They can run this inside 50. Oh, that's a high tackle there, and they will get a free kick. Didn't look too vicious. It's Brody Foster. He comes back into the corridor, and Portelli takes the mark on about 46 metres out, and the experience of Jacob Heron, the AFL listed player behind him, tells him to slow down. There's a free man inside 50, and that's Brody Foster, who gets the footy back that he kicked to Portelli in the first place. So nice patient play there and a nice patient build-up from the Suns, and Foster will have the opportunity here to give the Suns some more breathing room.
But really poor checking there, as you called it, Ethan. He just sort of called for it. He kicked it off, called for it. Really poor checking from the Redland defence at a vital moment.
So Foster has played 11 games for the Suns this year and been an important member of their side. The kick didn't get great purchase on the boot to the top of the square. The mark can't be reeled in by Brumley, and it's seen through for a rush behind.
So the score 82, plays 65. 17 points the margin with 8 and a bit gone of the final term. Neefle TV through Bar TV. Peter Yagmore kicks it to himself and then kicks a long one towards Clay Cameron. Spoiled by Kolajasny. Kolajasny brilliant at ground level. Got his hands to the ball, gives it over to McDonald. McDonald Kicks it to lower on the lead. Rove by Brodie. Gets around 1. Gets around 2, 3. Handball back. McDonald curls it around the body. Big pack of players fisted to the back. Baru! Off the ground. Thanks very much. Read it beautifully. The Suns get another one just to expand that lead. 13-10, 88, 9-11, 65 Redland. And we're back out to a 23-point margin. He just read it off hands and great execution of the soccer skills.
We had a great view at that one, Michael. We saw Baru. He was just out this near side. I'm not too sure where his direct opponent was. Redland looked to have lapsed a little bit in their defensive 50 in the last 2 or 3 minutes, but Baru got the sit. There were about 4 or 5 players that went up from either side for that contest, and Baru at the back struck that one out of mid-air and flushed it, and he's put that one through. And the Suns just look to be weathering the storm that Redland have thrown at them. It looks like Redland might have come out and given them everything they had in that third term, and the Suns have just been able to hold fort here and are able to follow this one on. The umpire bounces that one. That has missed where he intended that one to land by about 5 or 6 metres, and we might recall that.
I think you're right. I think the petrol tickets, they might have just done the express chase, and after about 10 minutes, a couple of quick goals to the Suns. They look a little deflated at the moment, the Bombers.
In all fairness, I think the three-quarter time siren didn't come at the best time for Redland, because they had all the momentum there as Lyons out of the midfield for Redland. It's a good kick and good body work. I'm not too sure why he played on Payne. I don't think he thought the mark was claimed. That's a bizarre attempt. The snap comes in there and he's bellied that one. Has Adrian Williams, and that will be through for just snuck in for a minor score. So interesting display there for Payne.
Yeah, very interesting that he played on, but Adrian Williams, he's a big-bodied player. He usually plays in defence, one of the NEFL team members of the year at fullback, and they've got him up forward because basically the Suns have gone with a very small, speedy forward line as the ball's in dispute. Umpire says there was high contact. It's going to go to Hayden Batoli-Simmons here for Redland. The skipper of the Bombers urging his players to move it along, and now the umpire's called 50
metres. He ran straight through the mark there.
Was that Brumley?
Lachlan McDonald.
Lachlan McDonald, number 48, he ran through. Okay, so Batoli-Simmons has missed 2 goals. He's got 0 goals 2 today, just the 2 behind. So if he pops this through, it drags it back to a 16-point margin. Oh, he made the goal umpire do an awful lot of work, but it gets through there. And so we have that 16-point margin. It's less than 3 goals. The Suns 13-10, 88 to Redland 10-12, 72. 11 and a half gone in the final term, Ethan. They still got it in them.
Every time I think they don't, they can sort of creep their way back into it somehow. That's a real let-off there. I mean, young Lachlan McDonald, that's a sign of fatigue there, isn't it? He just
coach killer, mate.
Yes, indeed it is. Nick Malcheski would not be thrilled with that by any stretch of the imagination. He's just lapsed a little bit and run through that one there. Batoli-Simmons, well, didn't he make the goal umpire go for a run there? I reckon he's just snuck that one inside the left upright, but doesn't matter where you kick it through there as long as it goes through, and we have certainly got a game on our hands, back to 16 points, 12 minutes gone in this final term. Umpire takes his time coming to bounce this one in. He's done a good job so far today with the bounces, and I haven't cursed him there. That's a cracker. Comes straight up, and a great tap down from Malone. The clearance from Redland inside 50. Can they get numbers there? It looks like the Suns will have enough to clear, and Spencer just blasted out that far side.
Well, that's not a bad effort because it bounced awkwardly for Connor Nutting. Couldn't do anything about it. It went back over his head, the shape of the Sharon. It's Salter, Batoli-Simmons, Payne at the front, roving front and centre, hitting the ball at pace was Ryan Dadds, and hitting him at full pace. What an excellent tackle from Max Spencer. Dropped him like a school case, 35 metres from goal. He was heading straight towards goal. Malone at the front will get the tap down. Redland will get the clearance. Here he goes, Harrison. Ryan Dadds. What's he going to do? He's going to curl it too far. One behind. They're pressing the Bombers. 15 points the margin. 88 plays 73. 13 gone final term.
I don't think he entirely expected that one, Dadds. He saw him on the outside of that contest after being cleaned up from Spencer, and he's limping, and he's got to go for another run here as the kick comes out of defensive 50. Dadds is having a lot asked for him. He has to chase there. Heron did well. Gives the handball off to Kolajasny. Kolajasny gives... Trying to keep it in there, was lower. He's wrapped up. I think it might have gone over the boundary line. The umpire said no, and it's holding the ball.
Yeah, he ducked his head into that one, and Clay Cameron caught him in a nice fair tackle. So Illegal disposal.
So Cameron just in front of the interchange gates here, about 80 from home. That's an interesting kick, but read it well. Read it very well there. Did Bartoli Simmons. He's had a big last quarter. He's 55 out. He'll want to put this one to a dangerous spot, about 15 out, and that's exactly where he goes, in Hamilman's direction. Spencer gets a hand in there. Following up at ground level well was Hamilman. Holding the ball decision is given, probably rightfully so there. Redland just couldn't make the most of that inside 50 opportunity, and Spencer has the free kick out of their defensive 50.
He is a really strong defender. He's only 83 kilos, but Max Spencer really plays above his weight when it comes to strength. He had the tackle on Jackson Payne there, dislodged the ball. Redland have the ball at ground level though now. It's going to go back in via Boone towards Hamilman. Hamilman, can he juggle it? No, again. Spencer. He's like a cape. He's all over him, isn't he?
He's been super this afternoon. That was one of the battles we sort of looked at before the game, Michael Price, and thought that's probably going to be pivotal in deciding this afternoon's contest. Hamilman, of course, the leading goal kicker this year in the NEFL, with 40 now after his 2 or 3 this afternoon, 3 in fact. But Spencer's worn him like a glove for the majority of the day, bar a bit of the third quarter. Redland trying to win the footy out of here and just will it forward. There's numbers everywhere around this one. The tackling is going to be important here. It looks to have been wrapped up. The umpire had a very good look at that but didn't blow the whistle. And Redland can move it forward. Worked under the footy there. They've got numbers floating forward for this one. Back in the corridor if they can gather it cleanly, and they can. Banged forward towards Hamilman. He's out in that forward flank. Spencer just falls over at a crucial time. Worked inside 50 there. Can't gain the mark. Leslie cleaning up in defence. Spencer comes back to lend a hand. They're just trying to scrape this one out of there as they can, the Suns. But Redland will not go away. The ball hanging around inside 50 there. No silly free kick, save both coaches here as the ball is locked up. The umpire finally circles and calls it, and I get to have a breath, Michael Price.
Yeah, umpire Brett Ritchie, one of the most experienced umpires, and good call, Ethan Mackey. It is a pressure-filled game. It's 15 points the margin with 16 gone in the final term. Desperation from Josh Woolley. The left foot's going to go out of bounds on the full. Tom Salter will get the free kick right on 50. Wants to get it in there early. Looks for Cameron on the lead. Oh, chopping it off. Here's Clay Cameron. The left foot. That would have been poetry, but no. One behind. 88 plays 74. Only 14 points the margin now.
Cameron, he had more time than he thought then, and you heard the screams from the Redland fans beneath us here. He's, of course, got a lot of family here coming back from a very bad offset with testicular cancer over a lengthy period of time, and it's great to see him back out there this afternoon, Cameron. Gold Coast try and clear out of their defensive 50. They've got it out, but Redland look to have the numbers there to bring it back inside. Oh. Intercepted there in a great spot was Lonigan. He got smashed after he kicked it, and it's down. It's either downfield or a mark. It's downfield. The free kick will go to Baru. Was Lonigan who got smashed from behind after that. A dangerous contest. The ball's moved forward here. This is our man again, Greenwell. Can he get over there and contest? He wraps up a tackle. The Redland player probably didn't have the ball, but the umpire hasn't seen any of it, so they can move it out of their defensive 50. The pressure from the Suns is good. This is Lyons. Feeds out the near side to Rees. He goes long up the line to Cameron again. He contests. Makes a great contest of it. The ball is smothered. Brodie leads the race to this one. Can he get a block there from Woolley? He can. Gives to Lonigan. Back to Brodie with that overlap run. He has a bounce and decides to take on his direct opponent. The kick into the corridor is a great one that finds Connor Nutting just forward of centre, holding it up momentarily as everyone is pretty well spent out there.
Nutting towards Greenwell. Drops it on his head. Greenwell takes it to ground, and then, well, he tried to use his dash to get away from Scott Miller. Couldn't. Went over the boundary line. Throw in. 14 points the margin. The Suns still leading it. Redland pressing in the final term. 24 scoring shots to 23 in favour of Redland, but they trail by 14 points with 18 gone in the final term. This is NEFL TV through Bar TV. We're thrown in. Williams. He slaps it down. It's rove by Portelli. Tackled. Illegal disposal. Umpire pings him. Redland with another chance. There's Scott Miller. Chips it to half-back. Brad Howard playing a fine game this evening. Chips it across half-back again. They're just moving it deliberately. Nice work there from Damien Stephen. Gold Coast have set up again, very reminiscent of what happened in the first half. Their defensive structure was almost impenetrable. Oh, that's a dangerous kick from Rees. In fact, it's out of bounds on the full. That's a gift card to Kwabi Boki, 60 metres from goal. Collingwood fan didn't even get the ball for him. Turn it up. Boki had to lean over the fence. So Kwabi Boki from 60. Little chipping pass to the lead over the head of Fitzroy Greenwall. Nutting. Went the 1-2. It wasn't Nutting, it was Jared Mills. He was tackled and dropped. We'll get a ball up 40 metres from goal.
Collingwood fan clearly displaying a bit of emotion before the big game tonight has even started, as the Rucks do battle here. There's a lot of numbers around this one. Desperate times late in this fourth term for both sides. The margin is not a hefty one at the moment. They can bring it back inside 50 there, but the kick wasn't very well weighed up at all by Lower, and Redland can intercept and rebound.
There's Barnes, and he gives it off, and this is a dangerous kick in the middle. Hamilman. It was punched away from him by Spencer. Brad Howard can't quite control it. Enter Connor Nutting. He does control it. Then he lets go from 60. Connor Nutting puts a dagger into the heart of the Redland Bombers. 14-10, 94 to 10-14, 74. Back to 20 points. Geez, he didn't connect with that. The best of connections, but it floated through like a helicopter from 60 metres. He hit it from inside the centre square.
I can't believe he's kicked it that far. It came off his shin. But unbelievable play for Connor Nutting, the young guy, to have the confidence in his game and in his own self to be able to take that on. We saw Howard just fumbled that one. He's had a cracking game this afternoon, but just couldn't stick that one in the mitt. And Connor Nutting pounced on that, step two, and his eyes were straight for goals. I don't think he really had any options inside 50 other than the big sticks, and he didn't make a meal of it in the end, and that has certainly put a lot of doubt in the minds of the Bombers here this afternoon.
Yet another product of Palm Beach Currumbin. There's several of them running around tonight, including Max Spencer and also Josh Woolley, who plays for them in the QAFL as well.
So Redland really need to roll the dice now, you would think. The margin currently stands at 20 points, and we've had 20 played in this final term. Kolajasny, can he finish him off as well? The kick right to the line. Rush through on the last line of defence there for Redland. So they've just got to go now.
They don't have any other option. It's full steam ahead forward. Oh, it's a dodgy kick. It's missed the target. And again, that's Adam Boone who turns it over. He was looking for his teammate there in Luke O'Sullivan, just out of his reach, and it went over the boundary line, so it'll be a throw in. At left half forward, the Gold Coast Suns leading by 21 points with 21 minutes gone of the final term on NEFL TV. It's been a cracking game of football for 8th and 10th on the NEFL ladder. Absolute brilliant game as far as competitiveness goes. Just want to see Redland fight it out now. They're still close enough, if good enough, if they can get one or two quick ones. But there's some tired bodies out there. As Metricon Stadium's turning into an entertainment precinct ahead of the AFL match of the Suns versus Collingwood. Beautiful mark there from Josh Woolley. He's shown his class too. He's a late inclusion. Of course, plies his trade with the QAFL club, Palm Beach Currumbin, a member of their premiership side last year. It's a left footer. He drops it into perfect spot for the Redland defence in Stephen Mills to take a chest mark. Gives it to Salter now, and moving it slowly up the wing. Licht takes it to the outer side. Reading it beautifully was Connor Nutting. Intercept. He got the 1-2 back. He's going to have another ping from 50. Connor Nutting, puts it over the head of his teammate. He's got another chance. Here comes Symington, already with a couple of goals. Gets rid of it. Redland defence are there and ready, tackling the player to ground, and we'll get a ball up 30 metres from goal.
Done well.
Directly in front. They did well there.
They've done well to counter that, Redland. I mean, Symington was on his own about 10 metres out, even with that kick in from Nutting, missing the target. You would have thought they would have definitely scored there, but Redland been able to stem that one as much as possible. Hamilman picks up on the bounce, just gets it out before Spencer attends to him.
Oh, tackle.
And that's a great tackle there, wrapped up on the 50-metre arc. So the Suns, you'd think, are just moments away from putting this game right to bed with another goal, but Redland have that never say die attitude. Hamilman tries to tap it forward and get it moving. Out just inside the boundary line there. The umpire sees it has just fallen over the chalk, And we'll have a ball in, just favouring, just on the half-forward flank here for the Suns. So you really don't want to see this one go out to a 5 or a 6 goal margin with a few late ones to the Suns, do you, Michael? Because Redland have been really gallant in the way that they've come back from their deficit at half-time.
Yeah, agreed. They've battled hard. So this man is Tommy Salter. He kicks it up the wing. Kyle Walsh punched away from him. Rode by Rees. Jack Rolls also being good. Handball inboard to Stephen. It's a wobbler. That's a wasted kick. It's going to nobody else apart from the boundary line or one of the Suns players in Gilmore. Even Jackson Payne couldn't get anywhere near it. But then Gilmore had choices aplenty and almost drills it down the Redland player's throat in Stephen, who followed up. Just that's a couple of wasted, I suppose, late in the fourth term junk time disposals.
Yeah, it's something you'd commonly see at this time of the game, but I was just having a look at Adrian Williams there up forward for Redland. He had just had his hands out thinking, where was that kick going? He was looking to lead to a dangerous spot. Had the 50 all open, but didn't get it. So Redland need to be the next scorer and need to be the next scorer very quickly. They move it inside 50. Williams sets himself for the contest. Hamilman at ground level, bobbles it once, bobbles it twice, gives the handball off. They size up the options. The kick wasn't a great one. And you've got a bloke sitting back there for the Suns, able to just take that one out of defence now. Lonergan sits it up the wing. And a good mark there taken. And they can run now. The overlap run from Heron is provided. They've done that all afternoon, the young Suns. Gives to Symington, the smother. And Yagmore can cut that one off on that raking left boot.
He just hoiks it into the middle of the field. Hamilman's got a 1-on-3 here. He got control of the ball, but once again, Spencer knocked it out of his hands. Nutting takes him on. Kolajasny now to Josh Woolley. He goes out very, very wide, finds his teammate there in Brodie Foster. Foster now back onto the logo to find Will Brodie. Just icing the game now. 25 minutes gone. Final term. The Suns know they've got this. Kolajasny across the face. Jack Leslie slips over just to add a little bit of drama to it, but nothing happening. They're going to go back across the face of goal. Kolajasny, Coach Stuart Dew in the AFL would be salivating at how Cade Kolajasny's played today. His skills have come to the fore, his fitness, and Jack Leslie as well, been a very good player for the Suns as they just toy with Redland at the moment. Just milking the clock and taking possession down. That's a lovely kick from Symington. And they'll get it through. Here's Kolajasny now racking them up, just racking up the stats. Beautiful pass. He hits Gilmore. Gilmore on to Fitzroy Greenwell. How's the sidestep? Chips it forward and hits Bokey. That's priceless. Fitzroy Greenwell. How would you try and beat him in the stall gift? You'd have no hope. The man has just got exquisite pace, and that sidestep, he just sold it to everybody. But Kwabi Bokey, he's kicked a couple as well. This is the tail of the tape for tonight. The Indigenous forward line, the four players in Baru Lower and Fitzroy and Kwabi Bokey, who kicks his third. They have been the difference tonight for the Gold Coast Suns. 15, 11, 101, and under the old formula of first to 100 wins, the Gold Coast are home. Redland 10, 14, 74. It's 27 points the margin, Ethan.
Yeah, that step, I'm still trying to get over that one from Greenwell. Just put the Jets on, and anyone is going to be struggling to catch you when you do that to them at the 27-minute mark of the fourth term. Everyone's tired out there, and Greenwell just displayed his bit of magic there, and after the step was able to put the kick straight into Kwabi Bokey's lap. So they're the guys that have been the difference this afternoon. I said it earlier on that they're the ones that started it. The Bokeys, Greenwell, Tui Lower, they've all really provided that pressure and just harassing Redland coming out of defence, and that in the end is what has been the difference here this evening. Ruxdu contest for one of the final times this afternoon at Metricon Stadium. The clearance won there by Foster. Out of that contest, Bokey tries to go again. Baru looks up the line. A good kick to Will Brodie. Gee, he's had a good afternoon. Following on from his 32 disposals last week, Will Brodie, he has been super in that midfield and will surely be not too far away from another AFL call-up again, as the Suns are pretty content to just hold the footy up here and wipe this time off the clock. The Sting is well and truly out of the contest now as Heron looks up. A good kick up into the corridor there. And they can just hold the footy and wipe a little bit more time off the clock. The kick long down the line. That was towards Brodie, but even he was content to see his opponent take that mark as Redland are just rolling the dice now and have to go. Nothing to lose for them. It's a good kick. Up the line, they can move it back. And a good smother there applied from Greenwell. They're wrapping up. The pressure still comes from him, the young man.
Malone. That's a big sky ball into the middle of the field. Jack Leslie again with a timely fist. Gets the ball away. Luke O'Sullivan can't control it. Leslie keeps going and bulldozing his way through the traffic. Big tackle from Boakey. Loosed the ball. It's towed inside 50. Good fisting effort there to bring it to ground. It was well done by McDonald. Good tackling effort there. And there you go. There's the siren here at Metricon Stadium. And it's the Gold Coast Suns. 15-11. 101 to Redland. 10-14, 74. Big fight back by Redland in the final term, but 27 points shy. And what a ripping effort from the young Gold Coast Suns. 3 goals to Kwabi Boakey, added 2 to Harry Symington, 2 to Cooper Portelli, and singles to Scrimshaw, Kolajasny, Brodie, Nutting, Greenwell, Baru, Lower, and Arnold. So it's a big spread of goal kickers from across your 15. When it came to Redland, it's 3 for Hamilman, 2 for Payne, your tall timbers, but singles to Christensen, Howard, Batoli, Simmons, Mills, and Kerr. But Nathan Mackey, that was a game, I suppose, we talked about it a lot. The forward pressure of their very pacey forward line, very much structured like Richmond or Western Bulldogs kind of structure. Smaller structure in the forward line, but pace to burn. Put Redland under immense pressure, big turnovers, and then in the end, they had the pace to run away in the clear.
Yeah, they certainly didn't have the height there early on in the game, or for the majority of the game, I should say. The Suns, I mean, their biggest target down there was probably Arnold, but he had to rotate through the ruck at a number of times, so they lost that down there. That is what set up the game for them, was that pressure and harassment around the footy and just their run and spread early on in the game. Of course, it was a cracking effort from Redland to work back into the contest in that third term with a lot of their experience in there. But we saw in that fourth quarter, Redland did ask a few questions early, but the guys who have the Jesse Lonigans, Kay Kolajasnys, Jack Leslie's, those guys who just know the situation of the game were able to settle it down, really get the Suns where they needed to be. And I thought Will Brodie was absolutely super today, and especially in that fourth term, won the footy in the clinches and set up the Suns forward of the ball, who were able to just run out with it.
Yeah, agreed. Kay Kolajasny as well, 31 disposals. Jack Rolls with 31, but Will Brodie, 29 disposals and a goal. Lonigan, I thought he was excellent as far as he provided that massive body in the clinches, and 25 disposals and 5 tackles to impose himself. Tommy Salter, he got involved for Redland with 24, Leslie 23, Brodie Foster 22. Brad Howard, as we said before, 22 disposals as well for Redland. But when it came down to it, just too much speed and pace here at Metricon Stadium for the Gold Coast Suns. They've won it by 27 points. Just in other games too, game that's just finished as well. Down at Spotless Stadium, the GWS Giants have defeated Aspley 15-10-100 to 8-12-60. So a 40-point win to the Giants over Aspley. And the other game that's being played at the moment, previous today, the Sydney Swans down the Brisbane Lions at Blacktown International Sports Park. And we've got the NT Thunder versus Southport, which will be a cracker from TIO Stadium at 6:30 this evening.
It'll be a beauty tonight. Two sides who have got plenty of run and will be looking to push on their claims for the back end of the season. But in the end, it was just the Suns who ran out too strong in the end here for Redland. The stronger side in end here, and just put Redland to the sword throughout the majority of the contest. So
yeah, it's a couple of weeks for Redland. They've got the NT at Scottsdale Park next week, which will be an interesting game. And then Canberra take on Redland at Phillip Oval the week after. For the Suns, it's against the Giants at Spotless Stadium, and then against Sydney Swans at the SCG. So they've got a hell of a couple of weeks coming up. But Ethan, we'll get going. Michael Price and Ethan Mackey saying thank you very much for joining us as streaming live on NEFL TV through our broadcast partner Bar TV. Good to call with you, Ethan. First time, and we'll do it again very soon.
Likewise, Michael Price. Appreciate it. It's been a great afternoon of footy, and we've certainly enjoyed your company here this afternoon at Metricon Stadium. That's no doubt about that.
NEFL TV, proudly supported by Elastoplast. Enjoy your evening.